Adelaide's FIVEAA.
Cloudy and 15 with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
Australia has sealed a dramatic victory at Lords, claiming a 43-run win in the second Ashes Test. England was bowled out for 327 on the final day, much to the dislike of a disgruntled English crowd. Mitchell Starc took the final wicket, as heard on Wide World of Sports.
Yeah! Oh, he's done him this time. Finally got one at the stumps. There might have been an outside edge on it. But it doesn't matter. The contest is done now. Australia win.
And there'll be more on the controversial win in sport. There are calls for an inquiry into the deal to merge the universities of Adelaide and SA. It'll cost taxpayers almost $500 million, but Greens Upper House MP Robert Sims says it needs further scrutiny.
This is the biggest shake-up of our university sector in South Australia in generations. It is ludicrous to suggest that the Parliament should just provide a rubber stamp and wave it through.
The tertiary education union's also concerned about job cuts and a poorer student experience, saying bigger isn't always better. Major aged care providers are calling for wealthy older Australians with larger superannuation balances to pay more for aged care. Providers are also warning any new tax to help fund the struggling sector must be fair to younger generations. The aged care system already costs the government more than $30 billion a year. Police in the US city of Baltimore are looking for the person responsible for a mass shooting which has left 2 people dead. 28 others were injured, 3 critically, when shots were fired at a block party in the Brooklyn Homes area. The Baltimore mayor says the tragedy highlights the need to deal with the surge of illegal guns on the streets. Brandon Scott says it's a reckless and cowardly act.
I hope with every single breath that you take, that you think about the lives that you took and you think about the lives that you impacted.
More than 700 people have been arrested during a 5th night of rioting in France, sparked by the police killing of a teenager. The home of a local mayor in Paris has been ram-raided with a flaming car as his wife and children slept inside. While tear gas has been fired by police as tensions continue to run high. Australians visiting France are being told to exercise a high degree of caution. And Shell's coming under fire after being accused of trading Russian gas more than a year after pledging to withdraw from its involvement with the country. Advocate group Global Witness has accused Shell of making hundreds of millions trading Russian gas last year. But a spokesperson for Shell says it still has some long-term contractual commitments involving Russian gas. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
Good morning, Jono Edwards.
Good morning, Kendall. Let's return to our top story. Australia has taken a 2-0 lead in the men's Ashes series with a controversial win in the second test at Lords. The tourists beat England by 43 runs, despite an impressive knock of 155 by its skipper Ben Stokes and 83 from Ben Duckett. England fans were left fuming over a controversial stumping by wicketkeeper Alex Carey when the match was evenly poised. Carey quickly reacted, throwing the ball at the stumps when Johnny Bairstow walked out of his crease after the final ball of the over.
Oh, now this is going to be interesting. Johnny Bairstow's walked out of his crease here. This could well be out. I don't think there was a call of over. Johnny Bairstow's ducked and then walked out of his crease. Alex Carey's just thrown the ball at the stumps and hit them.
The MCC members at Lords booed the Australian players as they entered the pavilion, also shouting, "Shame on you" and "Cheats." Steve Smith was named player of the match for making a vital century in Australia's first innings. Let's head to some tennis, and Wimbledon gets underway tonight our time with Nick Kyrgios and Storm Sanders among the Australians in action. The Opals have claimed a bronze medal at the Women's Asia Cup with an 81-59 win over New Zealand, and the Red Bull's Max Verstappen has won the Formula One at the Austria Grand Prix. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
When you've earned your dream bathroom, speak to Bathrooms by Design, Clovelly Park and Lonsdale.
Cloudy and 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, also 15. A late shower or two on Wednesday, 17, and then showers on Thursday, 15. At the moment, 7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA Breakfast with Tom Rehn and Lucy Lokan.
Test drive the Cherry Emoda 5 at Cherry Glen Osmond from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Go Cherry!
.6:05, good morning to you on this Monday morning. Another chilly start to the day, but good news, we are into July, which means we're edging slightly closer to winter being over. But absolutely thrilled this week to be joined by a man who is wearing only a T-shirt and shorts, Tom Rehn. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Lucy. Yeah, we're quite the contrast this morning, aren't we? I've come in the shorts and T-shirt and ready to go, and you're a bit more rugged up, probably more sensibly dressed. You had the little blanket over your legs this morning when I came in, the puffer jacket as well.
Yes. Yeah, it's 6.8 degrees outside in the CBD. Feels like 5.9, and there you are in a T-shirt.
Well, I'm trying to get myself psyched up. I tend to try and go to the gym after we go off air here at 9 o'clock, so I feel like if I'm in the right attire, then that'll get me going. Hasn't worked very often, Luce, but I'm at least trying to train my mind to get into the right mindset.
Yeah, the mindset's there. I mean, that's what they say, isn't it? Like, if you're already dressed for the gym, then you just go, theoretically. I mean,
That's the idea.
That's the idea. I know Sam, our other producer, usually has that as well. If he knows he needs to go, he will just wear active wear, no matter how cold it is, just to make him go. But Rennie, it's 6 degrees.
It is cold, isn't it?
Not even a jumper. I'm sort of impressed.
Yeah, and a little bit frightened at how mad I probably am. But it is cold at the moment, isn't it? We've had such a chilly week, and looks like it's going to continue. It was a better day yesterday. I was out and about, got into the city with the boys, went to Illuminate, which was
wonderful.
A lot of fun. Great if you're thinking of heading on down. It's right in the heart of the city. Fantastic. Vic Square, I think it is. Mm-hmm. And they've done a really good job there. It was brilliant for the boys to sort of get interactive and out and about, but it was chilly. You know, that wind really cuts through you when you're walking around the streets. And you said we're into July now, which is good, but still a couple of months of winter to go. So just got to grin and bear it and try and get through it. And, a lot of late nights trying to rug up and stay warm, but it was good last night watching the Ashes, which we'll get to a little bit later. What an unbelievable finish there.
Yes, if you did watch the cricket, we'd love to hear from you this morning. 8223 0000, or shoot us a text 0448 08 1395. And of course, we are on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream this morning, so leave your comments there. A big Monday show ahead. We are chatting with the Premier Peter Malinauskas after 8 o'clock. The story that sort of has always been a story in the last few months and was confirmed late Friday night. I was actually out for dinner, Saturday night it was, and I have a friend who works for Uni SA, and she said, everyone's about to get an email, just so you know.
Yeah.
And then it came. So the universities are likely merging by 2026. We will chat with the Premier about that this morning.
Looking forward to that, Luce. What does it all mean and how does it change things moving forward? You and I both went to uni, what's the structure going to be like, what's it going to mean for students, etc. So that'll be a great chat. I'm looking forward to sort of nutting that out with the Premier a bit later on.
Yeah, we'll change the landscape of tertiary education here in SA. Also, we're heading over to the US this morning, talking with Tim Lester from Channel 7. Also chatting about Dry July, not something I'm doing this year, Dry July, giving up the old alcohol, but for some people it's a really important thing. Dorum Pfeiffer is the general manager of Triple Creek Winery, who make a lot of low alcohol and non-alcoholic wines. So we'll chat with Dorum after 7:30. And of course it's the Movie Bowl today, 8:20. We're picking 2 movies. The listeners will vote on it as usual. We do every Monday, and I'm excited to announce that Tom Rehn will be choosing our 2 movies today.
Oh, goodness me, bit of pressure. It's tough. I love watching movies with the young boys. It's harder now to get control of the TV. Or I went to the movies last night, but it was to see the new Transformers movie.
I was going to say, am I going to be watching Pixar or something?
Yeah, exactly. Shrek or something like that. No, I'll go back a little bit. I'll go into the early mid-90s. Do I have to pick a particular genre, or is it all?
No, just Tom Rehn's 2 movies. Yeah, so you've got to 8:20 to really work it out. But just Tom Rehn's 2 movies.
Okay, whether I go down a sporting theme, perhaps because I'm the sports guy, or I'll work it out. I'll find a couple of good ones for the listeners to choose from, and then you've got to watch whatever one they pick.
Got to watch it tonight.
Okay.
Yes. So then I'll be reviewing one of your movies. You might not like that review. You might love it. You might agree. That's all right. I welcome debate for my movie reviews.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I think there's a few already spinning around inside my head, so I've got to make sure I pick a couple of good ones.
Excellent. Thank you, Tommy. You can, of course, call in this morning, 8223 0000. Text us as well, the Duttons text line. Check out all the end of fin year offers at Duttons dealerships in Mount Barker and Murray Bridge. Like I said, if we watch the cricket, we joked about you, Tommy, staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning and watching it, all that kind of thing. But it finished sort of earlier than expected, right? 11:30?
Yeah, it did. It was because, it was into the fifth day. But, we heard in the news with Jono Edwards and Kendall Brettig, a lot of controversy with a stumping and, with the dismissal the day before that wasn't paid to Mitchell Starc, the catch. It was all happening last night, and then Ben Stokes, the heroics of what he did. But you're right, it finished with about a session to spare. But it was a hell of a test match, amazing finish, and there'll be a lot of talking points. Usman Khawaja had to be held back by security because so many of the members were calling the Australians cheats after the game or during the game after that dismissal. So a lot going on in that test match.
Perfect timing here. Graham in Elizabeth has given us a ring. Morning, Graham. You watch the cricket?
Yeah, I watched the cricket. I'm a bit bleary-eyed this morning, though, I have to say.
Are you on your way to work already, Graham, or?
I'm actually struggling to the golf course right now. I don't know if I'm going to get around all 18 holes, but I'll give it a crack.
Gee, it's not a bad little quinella there, watching the cricket into playing golf, Graham. I'd love to be with you at the moment.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a pretty awesome test match last night, and I guess a lot of the theatre is what test match cricket is all about. It's great to see.
And what did you make of the Alex Carey dismissal? Did you think it was fair game, or was Johnny Bairstow a bit unlucky?
It was on the edge, wasn't it? I mean, you look at the catch the other night that Starc took, and you thought, well, he well and truly had control of that, but the England player didn't walk. Would Gilchrist have walked in that moment? That would have been interesting, wouldn't it?
Big time.
So, and there was also, apparently, I haven't seen the footage of it, but there was an interesting Gronholm run out in recent times. I think it was Ollie Pope ran him out, and he was hobbling around outside his crease because he was injured or something like that, and the England players all went up for that one. So, yeah, it's a strange one, but, it's within the rules, and if that's what they say...
Yeah, then it's all fair in love and war. Absolutely, Graham. It was a cracking finish to what was a great test match. But, I mean, to explain for those that are waking up this morning and wondering what we're talking about, so Johnny Bairstow played and missed a ball. Alex Carey, he thought the umpire had called over. He hadn't, and he was walking out of his crease. Alex Carey threw down the stumps. Bang. Appealed, you're out. And he did do it a few balls before, and I do see a lot of wicket keepers do it now where they throw down the ball, but... People are saying it's not in the spirit of the game, etc. But like he said, he threw the stumps down almost immediately after catching it. Alex Carey, I think it's just a bit dopey from Bairstow, to be honest. So that'll be no doubt a massive talking point in the next test in just a few days' time. But we'll be talking plenty of cricket coming up in the next 10 minutes or so, I think, as well, Lucy.
Michelle on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook live stream says, I don't like cricket, I love it. So cricket fans, text us all morning, 0448 08 1395. We'll get to some news headlines right after this.
Nothing shakes your foundations more than discovering a pest infestation at home. Some pest inspectors are okay to find them, but not qualified to get rid of them. It's like hiring a celloist and getting a banjo player. Pest Inspect Australia can manage all your pests. They're the most qualified team in the nation. They're licensed to find them and kill them. Go to pestinspectaustralia.com.au.
I'm here at Cherry Glen Osmond to take a test drive of the car that everyone is raving about, the Cherry Motor 5. Oh, these seats are so comfortable, and the state-of-the-art tech is worthy of a car 3 times its price. And almost every function of the vehicle can be controlled by voice. Jerry, it's a bit cold.
Got it. Increasing the temperature in all areas to 22.0 degrees.
Book yourself a test drive of this incredible Motor 5 from 33k drive away. Visit gocherry.com.au.
Don't let the name fool you. Adelaide Direct stationers may be all Adelaide and very direct, but they're more than just stationery.
Yeah, they're a through and through South Australian owned and operated family business serving our largest businesses for over 25 years.
They are one of South Australia's largest suppliers of tech products, washroom products, PPE, workplace health and safety equipment, office furniture, food, snacks, beverages and much more.
Yeah, and what I love, Lucy, is whatever you need, they have got it, and they'll get it to you faster than you can say please, with same-day 2-hour express delivery. That's right, same-day 2-hour express delivery.
So head online to browse over 30,000 products and get them delivered direct, quick as a flash.
And head to the website right now, adelaidedirectstationers.com.au.
As we all know, SA is going through a housing crisis right now, but McGain Real Estate really want to help. If you're a landlord looking to sell your property, but you're feeling a bit guilty about disrupting an awesome tenant, McGain have landlords ready to purchase your property and keep that tenant in place. The team at McGain have hundreds of landlords ready to buy investment properties, so there's no need to stress about asking the tenant to move out or waiting for the lease to end. Visit mcgain.com.au.
5AA Breakfast with Tom Rehn and Lucy Lokan.
The Cherry Motor 5, state-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
6:16 on your Monday morning. Both David and Will on a holiday for this week, so it is Tom Rehn and myself for breakfast right through till Friday. But some news headlines this Monday. You will see on the front page of The Advertiser that SA Health is conducting an urgent investigation after a 22-year-old man from Newton has been charged with impersonating a mental health nurse at the Royal Adelaide Hospital. Brandon Chesney will appear in court in August, facing multiple charges, which include non-residential serious criminal trespass, theft and possessing prohibited material. He was arrested about 2 weeks ago. Police haven't released how long he had access to restricted areas of the Royal Adelaide, but it's believed it could be as long as 8 weeks.
That's a massive concern, isn't it? And I'm sure there'll be an inquiry and a lot of people asking questions that, you know, something so significant like our health system can be breached clearly as easily as that. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of doubling down on security processes going forward, as there should be.
Indonesian President Joko Widodo will arrive in Sydney tonight ahead of 3 days of talks with our politicians here. Climate, regional security and the economy will be top of the agenda when Widodo meets with our Prime Minister Albo. Mr Widodo says he is looking forward to the meeting and is keen to strengthen ties with Australia.
Prime Minister Albanese is my close friend. He is warm and friendly and I feel close with him.
Foreign Minister Penny Wong says she's honoured by an invitation to visit Ukraine but won't be able to make it during this year. The Ukrainian ambassador has issued an invitation to Senator Wong to visit the war-torn country. Australia has, of course, donated another $110 million in military aid as Ukraine continues to battle Russia's illegal invasion. Hard to believe it's been going on for more than a year.
I know.
It's still bubbling away in the background.
Yep. And I think for the Ukraine, probably the best thing is that we are still talking about, you know, what is happening over there. To keep it in the public sphere is certainly going to help their cause. But you're right, Lucy, it's been something that's been ongoing for a long time. And, you know, I think we'd all like a resolution at some point because it's been going on for far too long.
An Australian woman has sadly been killed in a skydiving accident in the United States. Local police say the skydiving instructor had been attempting a new method at a facility in Houston, Texas. Her parachute deployed during the jump, but she sadly died in hospital.
Yeah, it's a bit sad, isn't it? I mean,
very sad.
Yeah. It's a risky thing to go skydiving. Some people love it. I know Will McDonald, who I work with, has done thousands of jumps. He absolutely thrives on it. You know, finds it as a real rush, but very dangerous. I've done it once before, did it in New Zealand. Obviously, you have to be in tandem when you're just an amateur doing it. It was a lot of fun, but can be risky all the same.
Skydiving's something I would actually love to do.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't bungee jump, but I would love to skydive.
I did both, only once in the same day. So it was in New Zealand. It was incredible.
You had a bit of adrenaline for one day, and then that was that.
And I did whitewater rafting in the morning. I was exhausted. I think by about 9 o'clock I was in bed that night.
Big day. But of course, our thoughts go out to that family. You take risks when you do an activity like that, and that's just sad news. Almost 80% of local businesses would pay a ransom to hackers in a bid to recover stolen data. A survey of IT professionals in Australia and New Zealand has found also more than 95% believe the threat of ransomware has increased this year alone. More than half of respondents said their firm had fallen victim to a cyber attack in the past 6 months.
Happens.
Terrifying.
I mean, I think it's happened here before. It's happened across for us at Channel 9 before that we've been hacked into, and it happens at so many businesses now as well. And cybersecurity is one of the most important things I think moving forward. It's something we all rely on. Is we do bank transfers, we do shopping, just about everything you can do now. You do online. So that security is just crucial.
And another tragic shooting in the US. 2 people have been killed and 28 injured in Baltimore after a person attended a block party and started gunning down. US police are reviewing social media footage to identify the shooter. We don't often bring mass shootings to the spotlight out of America anymore because it happens
daily.
Too much.
Yep.
Far too much. And everyone can have their thoughts on America and how ridiculous their gun laws would appear to be from this far away, but another one is sad news. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's just horrific what happens over there, and I think most people agree that the laws surrounding guns over there are just archaic and haven't moved with the times. And unfortunately, they seem to value their guns more than they do human life, particularly young children. We get all these shootings at schools, defenceless kids, but it happens time and time again, and nothing is done. Nothing changes. It's outrageous.
Weather for this week, currently 6.6 degrees. We are aiming for a top of 14 in the city today. No rain, but cloudy. A minimum was expected to be 7 degrees, but 6.6, so we're already colder than expected. Sunrise at 7:25 this morning. Tomorrow, 15 degrees, no rain. Wednesday, 17. Thursday 15, Friday 14, Saturday 14. Rain expected, looks like it's coming in on Thursday, expecting up to 15 mils on Thursday.
Goodness, we've had some rain over the last fortnight, haven't we?
Yeah, so it's dry today and tomorrow, and then it will start to come in for the rest of the week.
Right.
Let's get to sport. Rennie, I know you're still itching to chat about the cricket here. And again, like we say, if you're a part of it, text us 0448 08 13 95. But Rennie, get 10-year warranty and 10 years cap price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi. Should we start with your winners and losers?
Yeah, let's do that. And obviously the big winner has to be the Australian cricket side. What a victory for them. England chasing 371 overnight, and they were 4 for 114. When play resumed, and they were looking pretty good. Ben Duckett and Ben Stokes did really nicely. They added about another 60-odd, and then Duckett was dismissed for 83. But then the partnership between Johnny Bairstow and Stokes wasn't that big, so Bairstow was out controversially. We've spoken about that to Alex Carey, that stumping. Then Stokes and Stuart Broad put on a century partnership, and they looked like they were going to be home, but finally the key wicket of Ben Stokes, he was out for 155. And then the final 3 wickets came in pretty quick succession, culminating in Australia taking a 2-0 series lead.
Yeah! Oh, he's done in this time. Finally got one at the stumps. There might have been an outside edge on it, but it doesn't matter. The contest is done now. Australia win.
So a 43-run victory. That audio there, thanks to Channel 9. It means that they take a 2-0 Ashes series lead. That means that England, because we own the Ashes already, have to win the next 3 test matches to win back the Ashes. If it's a 2-2 result, we retain the trophy, or the Ashes urn, they call it. So a great result for Australia. 2 really even tests, the first 2, and Australia have won both of them. So it's a huge result. The thing is, they only get a 3-day break, and to do it without Nathan Lyon, who was out with that ripped cuff. I mean, so many storylines out of this test match too, Lucy. Nathan Lyon comes out to bat despite the fact he could barely walk, and bats with a totally torn calf. He'll miss the rest of the series. Then we have this stumping overnight. We've got the catch that wasn't awarded to Mitchell Starc. The members booing the Australians as they go into the change rooms yesterday on day 5. It just had everything. It was dripping with drama.
Yeah, I've missed it all. I'm not ashamed to say I'm not a cricket watcher, but there you go. I'm glad the Aussies got up last night.
It was good.
What else happened in the weekend of sport, Tommy?
Other winners and losers? Well, I mean, I think it has to be Port Adelaide and Dan Houston. This phenomenal winning streak continues. Houston kicks the winning goal after the siren. It was an amazing achievement by Dan Houston. 55-metre kick. after the siren, and they've now won 12 in a row. To do what he did, and we might talk about it more at 7:20 this morning, but to kick that goal in wet conditions, it had been pouring through periods of the second half. I mean, it was just phenomenal. And Port Adelaide now 13-2. Who would have thought that when they were 1-2 at the start of the season? And Sam Tugwell called it beautifully. It had shades of the match in round 4 when they started this 12-match winning streak. It was Sydney who had the chance. Oliver Florent had the chance to win the game against Port Adelaide. They touched the ball on the line. You know, it was 10 centimetres inside the line. The one on the weekend was maybe a foot over the line. So it just goes to show the game is a game of inches. You know, it could have gone either way, both of those matches. Port have won them both, and they go to 13-2. Phenomenal record. And they should now finish in the top 4. Top 2 is looking really good. They're 4 games clear of 4th. The only way I think they can move out of the bottom or of the top 2 is if Brisbane displace them. And Brisbane is still only 2 games behind them, but has a better percentage. But I think the way they're going at the moment, Port Adelaide should finish top 2, which would be a huge achievement and could mean they don't have to travel to Melbourne until the grand final. Other winners from the weekend, the Crows, good win. I called that game. They won by 11 goals against North Melbourne. Just a clinical performance, really. They were expected to win. It was a pretty sort of tough first half. The Kangaroos got to within a goal late in the first half, but then the Crows were too good in the second half. Much better defensively in the third and fourth quarters. So a really good result there for the Crows. Other winners from the weekend, Max Verstappen, he won the Austrian Grand Prix overnight, so his dominance continues in the Formula One. The New South Wales Swifts, another nail-biting match. This time they're on the right side of it against the West Coast FIVEAA, so the Adelaide Thunderbirds will play the New South Wales Swifts in the grand final. It's just a shame that it's being played in Sydney. In fact, I think it's being played in Melbourne, which is neutral territory for both sides. And I'll also give a shout out to the Opals. They won the bronze medal at the Asia Cup, so they beat New Zealand 81-59. Losers, Lucy, on the weekend, Melbourne, they lost to GWS yesterday. That was a bad loss for them. Gold Coast, I think that's a terrible loss against Collingwood. They were smashed. First time they've ever sold out Metricon Stadium. Huge opportunity for the club, and they were just belted. So bit of a reality check, and disappointing for them because they've been going okay lately. And Sydney on Friday night, I'm sure a lot of people saw or heard the game here on 5AA, but Sydney's goal kicking is as bad as I've ever seen. They should have beaten Geelong by 5 goals, but could not kick straight. They need to get out there and just practice their goal kicking during the week, I reckon. Fabulous footy wrap, Tom. That was very thorough. Yeah, they are the winners and losers from the weekends. There were quite a few of them there. A couple of texts here have come in. From Graham. Great wins to Crows at Power and the Australian cricket side. I reckon Ben Stokes should have got man of the match with his effort. Hard to disagree with that. 155 in that second innings. I know they lost the match. I think Steve Smith was awarded man of the match in the end, predominantly for his first innings century. He made 110, but Ben Stokes last night, 155 off 214 balls. It was almost a repeat of Headingley 4 years ago when they won by a wicket, hit the winning runs. That was an iconic moment in terms of Ashes folklore, but this time the Australians on the right side of it, albeit another heroic performance from Ben Stokes. Keep your texts coming in, folks. 0448 08 13 95. Up next, the 6:30 news with Kendall.
5AA's Business Lounge with Leith Forrest.
So in the Business Lounge today, I'm joined by an inspirational man who is a big fan of Arbor Vitae. Welcome, Peter Wilson.
G'day, Leith.
Hey, I know you've been using Arbor Vitae since 2018. Tell us about it.
It has completely changed my life. It's like liquid gold to me. My joint pain has completely disappeared. My mobility is so much better, and the reduction in inflammation is amazing.
After trialling and failing, Peter, with other treatments, you tried Arbor Vitae and even kept a pain diary. How did that work out for you?
I was using various things and trying different things, so it was just continuously getting worse and worse until such time as I decided that I had to find something that would work, I did nothing else other than a Google search actually and came across Arbor Vitae, and it definitely made a difference to my joint pain within a few weeks.
Peter, I'm so glad Arbor Vitae has given you back your life. Arbor Vitae is available in chemists and health food stores all over Adelaide. For a full list of stockists or to buy it online direct, go to arborvitae.com.au. That's arb or vitae.com.au. Or you can give the Arbor Vitae team a call and place your order over the phone on 1300 879 863. That's 1300 879 863. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
For nearly 40 years, no one has done certified used cars quite like Steinborner Automotive, with dedicated yards including SA's best range of commercials loaded and ready to go, including SA's only dedicated small car and SUV centre, and SA's only large SUV and 4x4 centre suited for any lifestyle. Steinborner still also has the best range of Commodores, from ZBs to the collectibles. View all late model used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 15 with the 6:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Complete windscreen supply and fit, front, rear and door glass. Proudly South Australian since 1976.
British cricket fans have been suspended for verbally abusing Australian players during the second Ashes test at Lords. Sam Jordan's there.
Extraordinary scenes in an Ashes series that has already proved to be stunning. 3 members of the prestigious Marylebone Cricket Club have been suspended pending an investigation after hurling vile abuse at the Australian cricket team at Lords. It came after a contentious wicket, keeper Alex Carey throwing down Johnny Bairstow's stumps as he stepped out of his crease at the end of the over. It was a wicket as per the laws of the game, but the moment will be spoken about for a very long time.
And the Aussies win in the second test. We'll have more on that in sport. A roadblock's emerging for the state government's uni merger plan. The opposition and minor parties are calling for a parliamentary inquiry into the deal to merge the universities of Adelaide and SA. It'll cost taxpayers almost $500 million. Andrew Miller from the National Union for Tertiary Education is also concerned about job losses.
If the Premier thinks the merger is such a great idea, then prove it. Let there be an open investigation.
A bodyboarder has died after losing consciousness while competing on Sydney's northern beaches. The 48-year-old man was dragged from the water by another bodyboarder before an off-duty nurse began CPR. He was taken to the Royal North Shore Hospital in a critical condition but later died. Police have found more than $3 million worth of drugs hidden in a shipment of vans. More from Max White.
Border Force officials say the alleged attempt to smuggle 84 kilograms worth of ketamine is outrageous. The narcotics were discovered at a port in Melbourne, stashed in false compartments inside 2 French vehicles. Federal police then replaced the drugs with a fake substance and allowed them to continue to Sydney. 2 men aged 28 and 29 have been charged with drug importation. They could face up to life in prison.
An Australian woman's been killed in a skydiving accident in the US. Local police say the skydiving instructor had been attempting a new method at a facility in Houston, Texas. Her parachute deployed during the jump, but she died later in hospital. The mayor of a Paris suburb says his family was the target of an assassination attempt after another night of violence across France. More from Brett McLeod.
Even after days of mayhem, this incident has managed to shock France. The mayor of a southern Paris suburb says at 1:30 in the morning, a car smashed into his property before it was set on fire, his family fleeing in terror. Vincent Jean Brun says his wife broke her leg as they escaped, while one of his 2 young children was injured as they came under attack with fireworks. This follows nights of rioting in the wake of the police shooting of a teenage driver in Paris. Thousands of people have been arrested. Authorities still struggling to try to reduce the chaos.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's John Owen.
Thank you, Kendall. Recapping our top story, Australia has held on to defeat England by 43 runs, despite a Ben Stokes masterclass with the bat. Stokes was dismissed for 155 runs, with his son's side needing a further 70 for victory at Lords. Australian Test captain Pat Cummins is standing by wicketkeeper Alex Carey, following his controversial stumping of Johnny Bairstow.
Yeah, I think Carey, saw it happen a few balls previous. I think 3 or 4 balls previous, and there's no pause. Catch it straight away, have a throw at the stump. So I thought it was totally fair play. That's how the rule is. I know some people might disagree or what. Just like the catch yesterday, the rule's there. That's how I saw it.
Steve Smith was named player of the match. Let's wrap up the late game in footy yesterday. St Kilda has survived a scare after being pushed by the bottom team West Coast. Matt Gallant has more.
The Eagles were supposed to be pushovers after their 171-point loss to Sydney last week, but the Saints were quick to find out they had a fight on their hands. The home team got out to a 31-point lead at one stage, but St Kilda reeled them back in to win by just 8. In other results, GWS upset Melbourne in cold and wet conditions in Alice Springs, and Carlton made it back-to-back victories with a 60-point win over Hawthorn.
Back home, Port Adelaide ruckman Scott Lysette will have scans on his injured knee today. The club will be hoping to have him back for finals. In basketball, the Opals have claimed a bronze medal at the Women's Asia Cup with an 81-59 win over New Zealand. And Red Bull's Max Verstappen has won the Formula 1 Austria Grand Prix. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
When you've earned your dream bathroom, speak to Bathrooms by Design, Clovelly Park and Lonsdale.
Cloudy and 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, also 15. A late shower or two on Wednesday, 17, and showers on Thursday, 15. At the moment, 7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA Breakfast with Tom Rehn and Lucy Lokan.
Test drive the Cherry Emoda 5 at Cherry Glen Osmond from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Go Cherry.
Yes, it is Tom and Lucy all this week for breakfast. David and Will both off on their mid-year break. It is 6:36, a chilly Monday morning, as I alluded to earlier. Tom Rehn still sitting here in a T-shirt, a bright yellow one. You can jump on the Foodland Supermarket's Facebook and YouTube live stream to leave your comments and also see Tommy in his bright yellow T-shirt and sports shorts, because the man who just doesn't feel the cold.
Yeah, it's going to illuminate the room, isn't it, this yellow T-shirt? If we turn the lights off in here, I think there'd still be enough coming off this top. I clearly got dressed in the dark, or this, lighted the way for me.
A couple of texts coming through this morning, Tommy, on the Duttons text line.
Yeah, there he is, and a lot of it surrounding the cricket, loose. There was a controversial finish. Morning all, read the cricket. The Poms cannot have it both ways. If Mitch Starc's catch was ruled not out due to the technicalities of the law, then they cannot whinge that the Aussies were cheating in the Bairstow stumping, which again was out due to the letter of the law. The disgraceful abuse dished out to the Aussies by the members in the long room at lunch was hypocritical and a terrible look. Good to see that the MCC has suspended 3 of these entitled tiffs. That one's from Guy at Highgate. And another one, g'day Guy, Stark's catch was not out and Bairstow was out and fair. You learn those rules very early on when playing cricket, and Stokes' batting had to be seen to be believed. Great win by the Aussies, and Test cricket is also the winner, that one from Billy. So there's a lot coming through, and I did see that Ben Stokes commented on that dismissal overnight and said, would he like to win that way? No, he wouldn't. I think that's a bit rich. I mean, to the letter of the law, like with the Stark catch the day before, it was not out. Now, England won the World Cup, and I say that in inverted commas, in 2019. It was actually a draw. They didn't win that game. It was a tie with New Zealand. Now, he didn't offer to share the trophy, nor he should, because they won it on the countback of boundaries and 4s and 6s. So he shouldn't complain about this, in my opinion. I think that's just being a sore loser. That's my opinion.
Strong editorial there on the cricket, Tommy. We should have this every day. A couple of news out of the weekend, bits of news from the weekend that you may have missed if you were just switched off like I usually am, or you were busy watching the cricket. Australia has become the first country in the world to legalise the use of psychedelics to treat some mental health conditions. Approved psychiatrists can now prescribe MDMA to those suffering post-traumatic stress disorder and magic mushrooms for some types of depression. Here is the New South Wales Oz Medical Association President Dr. Michael Bonning on the Weekend Today show.
MDMA and psilocybin are
Chemicals we've known and understood for a while. What they do is probably increase the level of empathy that we can show to ourselves when we go through a psychotherapy process, particularly important for people who are experiencing very deep treatment-resistant depression and also post-traumatic stress disorder. This is a very focused system which will be under the care of psychiatrists. Those psychiatrists will need to apply to the TGA still to be able to prescribe these medicines, but it's important that we now have access to these and they are, within a controlled system.
Yeah, important to note there that there is no dispensing for home use of these drugs. Patients will only be able to access them in supervised clinical settings. The cost to be put on these is absolutely huge, something like $10,000 once you finally get to that point of then getting MDMA or the other one, psilocybin. You can see why I'm not a doctor.
Oh, well,
I can't pronounce it. But
I mean, it's tricky though, isn't it? And look, I defer to the experts with this one, but mental health is clearly where, we're moving towards a lot more. It's something that's so prevalent, particularly, I think, in younger people coming through, just dealing with the pressures of life and everything that goes with it, and for older people as well. Perhaps it just wasn't diagnosed as much, 20, 30, 40 years ago, but if the medical experts are saying that it's a good thing, then I think it is. But like you said, under very strict, controlled supervision.
Yeah, Australia, I believe, is now the first country to classify psychedelics as medicines at a national level. Does, of course, mean that those prescribing them do need to have pre-approval via the TGA, but it is now an option for those who are in need. Something else that's cropped up this morning, a big happy birthday to the Rundle Mall pigs.
Oh!
There's a fun one for you. On this day in 1999, July the 3rd, the 4 bronze pigs were unveiled in the mall. We have a Horatio, Oliver, Truffles and Augusta.
There you go. Charlie, my 4-year-old, loves those pigs.
24 years old today, the pigs are. Whilst I was just doing some searching about Rundle Mall, I found this great TV advertisement. Now, it's not featuring the pigs because it predated the pigs.
Right.
It's John Farnham from the 80s. And I don't know if many people will have seen this because it must have popped up and then disappeared. Anyway, here's John Farnham promoting our Rundle Mall.
Rundle Mall starts to come alive before the morning sun has reached the sky. While you're still at home in your cozy bed, we're busy getting ready for the day ahead. Rundle Mall, it's the biggest variety show in town. We'll make you look like a star.
Do we bring it back?
I don't mind that. The voice, John Farnham, why not? I saw Blake, our producer, he was dancing away. You were sort of jiggling away there as well, Luce.
It's catchy.
Yeah.
Rundle Mall, the biggest variety show in town, is the tagline.
I love it.
Don't know, do we need another ad of equal stardom? Do we need a Kylie Minogue dancing through Rundle Mall?
Well, I was going to say, who would you get? Would you just, bring out Johnny Farnham again? I mean, he's an Australian icon, Australian legend, or will you go for someone a bit more contemporary?
Although the mall does have its own unique characters, like the buskers who are there every day, the regular shop owners.
Yep.
8223 who is Rundle Mall's biggest ambassador? Or who should it be? Give us a ring if you've got any thoughts. Who do we need to do a new Rundle Mall jingle? Or if you think there's someone already there who could do a good job.
Yeah.
Would love to hear from you this morning.
Maybe you, Lucy. Maybe we could get you down just doing a bit of a
I mean, the issue
song.
is, Tommy, is that I can't sing or dance.
I don't know. I just saw you moving then. You looked all right.
That's about as good as it gets. But Rundle Mall, John Farnham, the unofficial ambassador of the 1980s. But who else could we do with Rundle Mall? I mean, it's had a lot of redevelopment the past few years.
It has, yeah.
8223 if you think anyone would be great as a new Rundle Mall ambassador. We'll take your calls and your texts before we get to SAPOL and weather, but let's check traffic for the first time this morning. It might be pretty quiet out there considering it's still dark. The sun is not coming up until 7:25 this morning, but let's get your traffic for the run-in.
Thanks, Lucy, and good morning. Roads are looking really good for the driver today on a back-to-work Monday. Got to be happy with that. However, do look out for a burst of water at Urbray, Glen Osborne Road at the bottom of the freeway. In the park lanes, traffic lights out of action South Terrace near Woolcock Street, and we are slow at the moment South Road, Edwardstown. That's for New Asheville going down there, just near Bunnings and Castle Plaza. Cameras today, Anzac Highway, Glandore, and Fisher Streets at Malvern. Mo Destinations, Mo Fun. Flight Centre's round-the-world experts have a knack for making tricky bookings stress-free. Call a Flight Centre round-the-world expert on 1300 550 416. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
This month, all kids 14 and under get to go to the footy for free.
What about that?
That's all games between rounds 16 and 19 of the 2023 Toyota AFL Premiership season. From selfies to screamers and tasty treats.
Spectacular!
Make it an awesome day for the family with a day out at the footy. Kids go free rounds 16 to 19.
Boy, oh boy, wow,
Go to afl.com.au/kidsmonth. Terms and conditions apply, subject to capacity and availability.
The Kia EV6 GT. A sleek, pure electric supercar. Enjoy your flight. The Kia EV6 GT.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Now, Tommy, what is your garden currently like?
Oh, it wasn't great after the party I had a couple of weeks ago. It copped an absolute battering, and I'm sure it's then probably got absolutely nothing on yours, Timmy being the garden man that he is as well.
Well, I've got to admit, words don't quite do my garden justice at the moment. That's why Stanfords don't just talk gardens, they want to see your photos.
And the picture's worth 1,000 words, and nothing makes the Stanfords team day like a photo of your pride and joy. Your garden.
With 100 years of combined experience in the team, they've seen a lot, but it never gets old. So show them your unusual garden, your work in progress, your new veggie patch, the time you dabbled in hedge sculpting. They just want to see it all. They are a wealth of knowledge when it comes to tips and tools to keep your garden pristine.
Yeah, they certainly are, Lucy. So pop in for tips or just brag to someone who gets it. Go see Ben and Archie and their experienced team at 590 Main North Road at Jeps Cross. That's 590 Main North Road, Jeps Cross. Or check out the website, stanfordmowers.com.au.
In tough times, it's the simple things that make a big difference. Like $17 schnitzel days at the Albion Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf. We know the humble schnitty can't fix all our problems, but we do know it'll put a smile on your dial. $17 schnitties Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at the Albion Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf. Making the world a better place. One schnitty at a time. Got to start somewhere. You just know it's a Barreau Hotel.
FIVEAA Breakfast with Tom Rehn and Lucy Lokan.
The Cherry Motor 5, state-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
6:46 on your Monday morning. There's a comment here on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook live stream saying, who's that mystery lady that just walked into the studio? No, it's Emily, our new producer, Emily. She's joining us over this winter period. So you'll see Emily on the Facebook live stream, as well as Blake, who is producing this morning. You might know Blake. He's usually on the Leith Forest's night show, but we've roped him in to start early in the morning. So.
Yeah, they're both doing a great job as well. Got us well prepared and up and about, so they're off to a fine start. But Emily's been here for a few weeks now doing a great job in the mornings.
Someone else on the live stream says, Tom, you look like the Yellow Wiggle.
I wouldn't mind the Yellow Wiggles salary, the original one anyway. But yeah, maybe I'll have to break out into dance throughout the morning at some point. Maybe not. Dancing, not a forte for me either.
Let's leave that to the pros, shall we, Tommy? Let's get our weather update for the morning. Hannah Marsh is the senior forecaster on duty at the Bureau. Good morning to you, Hannah.
Good morning, Lucy. Good morning, Tom.
Chilly start to the day, Hannah. What are we in for as a maximum?
Yeah, it has been in the city. It got down to 6.4 degrees, but it got down to 4 degrees at Mount Lofty and 7.5 degrees at Noarlunga. We're currently sitting on 6.8 degrees in the city, heading for a maximum of 15 degrees, 14 at Elizabeth, Glenelg and Noarlunga, and 12 for Mount Barker today.
And lots of rain coming later in the week as well, by the looks too, Hannah.
Yeah, we're in pretty stable conditions at the moment, just with a little bit of high cloud around. But as you mentioned, we are expecting that to change on Wednesday. So for Tuesday, we're looking at partly cloudy, 15 degrees. But we do have a front that will come into the west of the state on Wednesday. Just the chance of seeing a late shower or two for us on Wednesday. So generally a mostly sunny morning, 17 degrees. But the showers will set in from Thursday. So we're looking at showers and 15 degrees for Thursday. And similarly for Friday and Saturday, and even becoming a bit windy at times on Saturday.
And we're just starting July now. What was the rainfall like for June? I know it is winter and we're expecting rain, but it did feel like it was really, really wet compared to previous Junes that we've had.
Yeah, definitely. We end up seeing 124.8 millimetres, which made it the wettest since 2012 when we had 126.4 millimetres.
Excellent news. Thank you, Hannah. Hannah Marsh there from the Bureau of Meteorology. Let's head across to SAPOL now. Senior Constable Rhett Davis is on duty. Morning to you, Rhett.
Good morning.
There's been a crash in Edinburgh.
Yeah, just after 12:30am this morning, police emergency services were called to report that a car had run off the road into some trees on Purling Avenue. On police arrival, they located a Holden utility embedded in a group of trees about 30 metres off the road. Luckily, the driver, a 65-year-old man from Salisbury Heights, escaped any injuries, but the driver submitted to an alcohol test, which allegedly returned a positive reading of .128. The man lost his licence to 6 months and was reported for drink driving and aggravated drive without due care, and he will be summoned to appear in court at a later date.
And someone has also been arrested in the CBD as well, Rhett.
That's right. Just after 2:15 this morning, witnesses reported seeing a man attempting to remove a metal grate from an air conditioning unit in a car park on Curry Street. Police were quickly in the area and located the man nearby, where he was searched and found to be in possession of an angle grinder and other tools. He was also in possession of a small amount of drugs and a mobile phone, which is suspected to be stolen. A 37-year-old man from Adelaide was arrested and has been charged with going equipped, possession of drugs and unlawful possession. He's been granted bail and will appear before the Adelaide Magistrates Court on the 2nd of August.
Good news there. Thank you for catching that guy. Thank you, Senior Constable Rhett Davis. Something as well we might chat about a bit later, Rennie. If you were in the vicinity of Westfield Marion Shopping Centre yesterday afternoon around 3 o'clock, 5 people were arrested after teen violence. A knife was recovered, I believe. But if you were at Marion yesterday afternoon, saw something, heard something, saw what unfolded, please give us a ring, 8223 0000. I know Ainsley Kosh was covering for 9 News. We might try and catch up with her a little bit later. But for now, we are heading across to America. This time it's the combination of two of our biggest world leaders, Joe Biden and King Charles III. We welcome 7 News US Bureau reporter Tim Lester. Good morning to you, Tim.
Yeah, how are you?
Very well, thank you. So Joe Biden's heading over to the UK to meet up with King Charles.
Yes, he's got a European visit coming up. Lucy's got to go to a NATO meeting in Vilnius, in fact, and also meet with other European leaders in Finland. So he's got a couple of reasons to go already, but had said that he wanted to meet the King, particularly because he didn't make the coronation in May, and now they've arranged to sit down together at Windsor, King Charles and President Biden, on July 10th, so just over a week. And they'll be meeting. The President will also meet UK Prime Minister Sunak in London while he's there. So he's got 3 or 4 days of pretty hectic meetings, but President meets King.
It's an interesting meeting, isn't it? Is there expected to be much formally that is spoken about, Tim, or is it more of a catch-up and just to talk about things more generically? I mean, I know he'll obviously go over a lot of policy with the Prime Minister, but what are we expecting out of this meeting with the King?
Well, it's always difficult to tell because unlike the heads of government meetings, like the meeting with Prime Minister Sunak, where they get grilled on the contents of the meeting and they want to talk up particular issues, there's a more private air to a meeting like this. But we also know, because of King Charles' history and his sort of acute interest in a lot of world affairs, that they're likely that he's likely to be speaking on the cutting edge a fair bit with the president anyway. So we shouldn't expect an agenda or a blow-by-blow rundown. There will be a nicety about this this meeting and a privacy, I'd suspect, but. Are they likely to be talking world affairs, Ukraine, Russia's stability, those kind of things? You'd reckon they would.
Thank you. Tim Lester there for 7 News in the US. Just having a reading here of a CBS News article. Joe Biden held a joint press conference with Rishi Sunak at the White House in June. The pair had several face-to-face meetings before then. Sunak took office in October 2022. He is the first Prime Minister appointed by King Charles because, of course, Liz Truss, who was Prime Minister for 45 days, she was appointed by Queen Elizabeth only 2 days before she passed away. So Liz Truss managed to meet the Queen, was appointed. They had their meeting and shaking of hands before Queen Elizabeth sadly died. But of course, now Sunak is the leader and Joe Biden's in power and King Charles III's in power. It'd be quite the meeting, I think.
Well, it's a real change in, what we've seen for the past, 40, 50 years, isn't it, Lucy? And, whilst we've rotated through many UK Prime Ministers over the years, not so much with regards to the monarch, obviously. So it will be fascinating. And as Tim said, it will be perhaps a more private meeting, not one that is thrashed out publicly with regards to policy, etc. But nonetheless, I'm sure we'll get some details as they come forth.
Yes, so Joe Biden, it is July 9th to 13, a huge 4 days. He's going to Britain, Lithuania, then Helsinki in Finland for the Nordic Leaders Summit. I'd love to go to Finland. I've never been.
I'd love to, yeah. Those Nordic countries would be incredible, wouldn't they? Beautiful part of the world, pretty cold at times, but it would be fascinating to get there, I reckon.
Text here from Joe. The Rundle Mall new theme song should be done by Kevin Bloody Wilson. I'm sure he'd come up with a few good lyrics, but most likely you wouldn't be able to play it on the airwaves.
Your beep, button would get a fair workout, I reckon, with Kevin Bloody Wilson.
Yeah, that's right, the old dump button. Neil in South Plimpton's called in with a mall suggestion. Morning, Neil.
Morning, Lucy and Tom.
Yeah, who's your suggestion, Neil?
Jimmy Barnes.
Jimmy Barnes.
Oh, I like Jimmy. He's good South Australian as well. Grew up in the northern suburbs, so Jimmy Barnes would be a great suggestion.
Jimmy Barnes. Would we have an ad that's screamo?
Yeah.
Though, in true cold chisel fashion. Wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, but good suggestion, Neil. Jimmy Barnes as a fellow South Aussie.
Loved Jimmy Barnes. I still do listen to his music all the time, and he does a lot of video clips and did a lot during COVID with his family, singing songs, and it was great to always hear him. He's still got a fantastic voice and has contributed so much to the music culture here in Australia, as you said, as a single performing artist, but also, and particularly with Cold Chisel, he was just synonymous with the 80s and 90s and, that classic Aussie rock sort of culture. It was great to hear him when he was at his absolute peak. He's got a beautiful voice.
A real trend is emerging here, Tommy, on the live stream. Someone else says you look like a jar of Vegemite.
With the yellow and black?
Yeah, the yellow top.
Love my Vegemite.
Black writing.
Well, it might have just been, had to be, because I still get involved with the Vegemite. Are you a Vegemite girl?
Absolutely, yeah. We had this discussion last week and someone said they have Vegemite under poached eggs.
No.
So they've toast Vegemite then eggs.
Right.
I'd love to meet someone who genuinely likes Wheat Bix with Vegemite.
No, I couldn't do that. Wheat Bix with sugar, which probably defeats the purpose, but not Vegemite.
I've noticed as well on the live stream, Tommy, I'm in sort of like a khaki green, you're in yellow. We look like the Australian Olympic team.
Well, we're only about a year away.
That's
so we're getting in early.
Paris 2024.
Yeah.
There are actually, unhappily for me, I have a huge love of Paris, but we'll chat about this after 7 o'clock in our morning news wrap. But Paris, scary scenes have had 5 days of protests, rioting, looting, violence against police. More than 700 people have been arrested in France at the moment.
Yeah, seen some of the pictures this morning, and it was pretty scary, as you say. So we might go a little bit deeper into that story after the 7 o'clock news.
Absolutely, folks. Jump on board with the show this morning. Give us a ring on anything you like, 8223 0000. We'd love to have a chat with you, but we'll be back with our news wrap-up after the news.
It's time to raise the bar. If you're organising an event, anything from a small meeting to a grand gala, you'll know there are many things to consider. So trust the experts at Adelaide Convention Centre to help you elevate your vision. With the support from our team at every stage, you'll be amazed at what can happen in turning each aspect into an unforgettable experience for both you and your guests. Contact our team and discover the magic to elevate your vision at Adelaide Convention Centre.
Gentlemen, is the urge to pee all the time getting in the way of your everyday life? Caruso's Pee Less to the rescue. Caruso's P Less is a unique herbal formula that relieves urinary frequency and helps support healthy bladder and prostate function. So, if you'd like to pee less, try Caruso's P Less today. Caruso's P Less is made in Australia and comes with a money-back guarantee. Available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Experience the Silver Sea difference with Silver Sea and Phil Hoffman Travel. Immerse yourself in a new era of all-inclusive, ultra-luxurious ocean travel with small ship intimacy, spacious all-suite accommodation and personalised butler service. Discover the wonders of Australasia from Sydney to Auckland or Asia from Hong Kong to Tokyo and receive a bonus $500 shipboard credit per person on door-to-door packages. Contact Phil Hoffman Travel or visit pht.com.au.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 15 with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
The Australian Test team's been verbally abused in an ugly confrontation with members in the pavilion at Lords, marring their Ashes victory. Cricket Australia says players and staff were verbally abused and some physically contacted as they made their way to lunch through the members area. MCC members at Lords booed the Aussie players as they entered, shouting "Shame on you" and "cheats." It followed a controversial dismissal by Alex Carey. The MCC has apologised to the Australian cricket team. Australia now has a 2-0 lead in the Men's Ashes series and will have more on the win in sport. There's a nervous wait for mortgage holders with the Reserve Bank to hand down their decision on rates at tomorrow's monthly meeting. Economists are worried another rate rise could plunge the country into recession, while it could also have major flow-on effects to unemployment as employers let go of staff. Inflation fell to 5.6% in May, but it's still well above what the RBA would like it to be, between 3 and 4%. The state opposition has slammed the Malinauskas government for the amount of media advisors on the Premier's team. There are now 17 on the books, costing taxpayers $13 million a year, compared to 13 under the former Liberal government. Opposition government accountability spokeswoman Michelle Lensing says Labor has the wrong priorities.
He's actually got so many spin doctors that it exceeds the number of ministers in government, which is quite extraordinary. What the Liberal opposition thinks is that this has demonstrated that he knows that he's not going to be able to fulfil his election commitments, so he's going to try and spin his way out of the bad news.
But the government says there's 116 staff employed in the ministerial offices, similar to the 111 in the former Liberal government. There are calls for a parliamentary inquiry into the deal to merge the universities of Adelaide and SA. It'll cost taxpayers almost $500 million. Deputy Premier Susan Close is urging MPs to use the upcoming parliamentary break to closely examine the details.
We do think it's important that the Parliament fully understands the merits of the merger. What we don't want is a delay for political purposes. This merger is expected to create $500 million into the economy from 2034. And every year we put that off, we're putting off that additional funding.
Almost 80% of local businesses would pay a ransom to hackers in a bid to recover stolen data. A survey of IT professionals in Australia and New Zealand's also found more than 95% believe the threat of ransomware has increased in 2023. More than half said their firm had fallen victim to a cyber attack in the past 6 months. An Australian woman has died after a skydiving incident in the US. More from Jonathan Kersley.
Deputies at the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office in Texas said the Australian was an instructor. Investigators say the woman was attempting a new skydiving method at the Spaceland facility in Houston on June 24. Witnesses told them the experienced young Australian woman had a hard landing. Local media says she was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. The cause of death is yet to be determined. Friends are planning a tribute skydive in the coming days.
The home of a local mayor in Paris has been ram-raided with a car set on fire as his wife and children slept inside. The city has seen its fifth night of unrest, which has been sparked by the police killing of a teenager. More than 700 people have been arrested so far and 650 vehicles and buildings torched. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Jono Edwards.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's head to some breaking news. And Nick Kyrgios has withdrawn from Wimbledon, citing medical reasons. The Aussie said he's withdrawing due to a wrist injury. However, said he'll be back as always and appreciates the support from his fans. To our top story, Australia has conquered its demons from 4 years ago, winning at Lords despite the England captain's Ben Stokes delivering another masterclass on the final day of the second Ashes test. Stokes belted Australia around the park before being dismissed for 155, Australia then going on to win by 43 runs. Australian vice-captain Steve Smith says Stokes is an incredible player.
Yeah, there's a bit of deja vu there for sure. He's an unbelievable player. Some of the things that he can pull off on this ground, in this country, in the game of cricket, he's a freak.
The Aussies are now 2-0 up in the Ashes series. Let's head to France, and Victor Lafay has stunned the favourites with a perfect attack in the final kilometre of the race to take out stage 2 of the Tour de France. A little bit local, at Westlakes, Adelaide defender Jordan Butts will miss next Sunday's clash with Essendon. He was ruled out with concussion after a heavy collision with North Melbourne's Callum Coleman-Jones at the Adelaide Oval on Saturday afternoon. And finally, Queensland and New South Wales will name their squads for State of Origin 3 this morning. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Planning a function? Speak to the Adelaide Convention Centre team to elevate your vision for your next event.
Good morning. There's a burst water main to look out for today at Urbray, Glen Osmond Road out the bottom of the freeway. In the Parklands, traffic lights out of action South Terrace near Wilcox Street. Busy at the moment, South Road at Edwardstown, New Ashford works going down there. That's near Bunnings and Castle Plaza. And look out for cameras this morning, Main North Road, Medindi and Raglan Avenue at Edwardstown. Participate in medical research and be paid for your time. CMAX needs healthy people aged 18 to 55. To register, visit cmax.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When you've earned your dream bathroom, speak to Bathrooms by Design, Clovelly Park and Lonsdale.
Cloudy and 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, also 15, a late shower or two on Wednesday, 17, and then showers on Thursday, 15. At the moment, 7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Come on to rise and win.
5AA Breakfast with Tom Rehn and Lucy Lokan.
Test drive the Cherry Emoda 5 at Cherry Glen Osmond from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Go Cherry.
7:07 on your Monday morning. Lucy and Tom for This Week in Breakfast. This is Jimmy Barnes.
No, I reckon it's Creedence.
Ah, see.
I'm pretty sure it's Creedence.
It's a shocking gap in my pop culture knowledge that I don't even know our own intro beds. I was going to say we just mentioned Jimmy Barnes being a good ambassador for Rundle Mall, and I thought, well, that's pretty timely, but that's right.
Close. Same sort of raspy.
Same vibe.
Yeah.
It is 7:07. The sunrise this morning is at 7:25, going for a top of 15 today. A few texts here talking about Vegemite we mentioned before the break. Zach says, I'm a Wheat Bix and Vegemite and poached eggs with Vegemite on bagels person.
Oh, my
He
goodness.
loves it. And Will from North Haven says, my 4-year-old daughter loves her sandwich with half Vegemite, half honey.
Oh, I like that.
Kids are weird.
Your kids are weird with what they like, aren't they?
Kids have some exceptional taste. Now, we will get to our news wrap of the morning of some things that came out overnight, but just breaking news there in the sport with Jono Edwards. Wimbledon is about to start, and Nick Kyrgios has withdrawn due to a wrist injury.
Disappointing. He's had a frustrating year, Lucy. You remember last year he was so competitive, and he made the final at Wimbledon, went down to Novak Djokovic, and almost broke through for that Grand Slam. His favourite surface is grass. He plays it so well, but since the Australian Open, he just hasn't been able to get the body right, and he's had setback after setback, barely played a match. And unfortunately, as you say, he's experienced some issues with his wrist in the last week or so, so he's released a statement saying he will not be playing at Wimbledon. He was seeded at 31 as well, which would have helped him, but clearly he's not close to 100%, which you need to be. But that's so disappointing because he absolutely gears himself every year to play at Wimbledon. He knows it's his best chance to win a Grand Slam. So it's frustrating, but unfortunately not to be. He's going to have to wait for another 12 months.
Let's get to some news of the day. We are chatting at 8 o'clock with our Premier Peter Malinauskas about the Adelaide University merger. This came out Saturday night. The University of Adelaide and University of South Australia have finally agreed to merge by 2026, and they will become Adelaide University. By joining forces, the unis do believe this merger will create more jobs, more research opportunities and garner more attention from international students. The state government investment is in the realm of $445.5 million rather. $200 million of that investment will go into research. $114.5 million will be of purchasing the land from the McGill and Mawson Lakes campuses. They are both currently owned by Uni SA. Before the new uni can actually be established, the agreement does need to pass through the upper house of Parliament. Here is the Vice-Chancellors of both the Universities of South Australia and Adelaide, David Lloyd and Peter Hoy on 9 News.
Setting aside over 30 years of competitive tension is no mean feat.
Independently, we do not believe we have the size to compete with what is happening in growing economies.
We've had Professor Peter Hoy from the University of Adelaide on the show many times. He's a Danish man, and we had him on one day to talk about Denmark, not even about the uni. But he's a recent hire to the uni within the past 18 months, and he's of course, has that international lens and believes that this is one of the way that in changing our tertiary education landscape here in SA, we want the funding and the upfront payments, let's face it, of international students. They can't get on the HEX scheme. I'm sure there are other payment methods for them, but they do pay up front, a lot of them, and that's what they want to attract, as well as the cultural meanings and what they can offer to our state and our city. But they have both acknowledged that having a joint uni will be better for the state. Then, of course, Flinders Uni is down there on its own.
Well, this is the other thing. So that I wanted to drill down a little bit deeper with the Premier, which we'll do in the next hour or so, and ask him about that. What does it mean for Flinders as well, and just the structure? And I guess, how's it all going to work? And, just from the point of view of the unis coming together, what will it mean for students? So we'll do that in the next hour. But, we're hearing and seeing that it's going to be a good thing. I was out at McGill, loved my experience there. And I know, other people have been at other various universities. So looking forward to just getting the perspective of the Premier and perhaps how it's all going to work for us moving forward at this point.
Of course, the opposition party and the Tertiary Education Union do have a few concerns about how the agreement is going to be scrutinised through Parliament and the process itself. Here is Andrew Miller from NETU on 9 News.
If the Premier thinks the merger is such a great idea, then prove it. Let there be an open investigation.
There we go.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Yeah.
I mean, we can hear about how good it is, but of course, no doubt the Premier will have some answers for the negatives that people are already thinking about. Internationally, I mentioned earlier about Paris and France. Total of 719 people have been officially arrested across France in the last 5 days. There's been police riots. The violence has been caused after the death of a 17-year-old. He was shot point blank whilst in a car by a policeman. His name is Nail Mazouk, and he was killed in the town of Nanterre, which is just in the northwest of Paris. He was of Algerian descent, 17 years old. He was pulled over by police at 8 o'clock in the morning, supposedly joyriding without a licence, but he had no prior criminal record. A 38-year-old policeman, there is footage of him saying to the realm of pull over, hands up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened after that, but he was shot through his front window. The 38-year-old policeman has been charged with voluntary homicide over the teenager's death, and he has been remanded in custody. So that all happened over the weekend. Nail has now been laid to rest, and his grandmother has since spoken out. Here she is on Sky News.
The people who are pillaging, stop. They're using Nile as a pretext. No, they must stop. Destroying the shops, the schools, the buses. The mothers take the buses, we take the buses.
So the looting and the protests are all along the lines of French police are racist. The French police system is corrupt, and it's based on a systemic and racist ideology. A lot of people complaining about the French police as well, given their Northern African connection. The countries in the north of Africa, like Algeria, have been colonised by the French. There are lots of Algerians in France, and it's been an ongoing issue for a long time.
Yeah, and just having a look at some of the pictures and images that are coming out of France at the moment too, Lucy, and there is widespread violence and just anger on the streets there. It's pretty scary at the moment. Some 45,000 police have been deployed, but this has obviously been simmering, and this issue has just brought all of those, issues to bear. And now we've just got this whole melting pot exploding, and people are furious, and thousands of police out there trying to control the streets. But I mean, fairly sage words by the grandmother there, isn't it? Just trying to get people to calm down and not use him as the pretext and the motivation to go wild in the streets. But it seems like the horse has bolted. There is just widespread anger over there in Paris at the moment.
And they're turning on authorities. So the latest overnight, on the 5th day of violence, a car was driven into a local mayor's house in a town just south of Paris at 1:30 in the morning. He was not inside at the time, but his wife and 2 young children were. The wife had her leg broken. She won't be walking for 3 months. And the 2 kids were obviously traumatised. The house was then ransacked and tried to set on fire by whoever drove the car in. And then this has now sparked additional fear amongst Parisians because it was such a targeted, premeditated attack. They're going for a local mayor now. Yeah, so it's just escalating, isn't it? So I know Emmanuel Macron has been coming out as well and issuing for calm as well. But it's very volatile at the moment over there in France. It's scary to see a city that I love be faced with that. But the 38-year-old policeman who shot a 17-year-old at point blank certainly has some questions to answer. To something lighter, the Beatles. We talk a lot about the Beatles on this show. Tommy, you got a favourite Beatles song?
Hey Jude, it's hard to go past that one, isn't it? I mean, it's such an iconic song. You still hear it sung at soccer matches, football matches, sporting events. It just makes you feel good. I love that song. We've spoken earlier about the final Beatles song to be released with the help of artificial intelligence. So Paul McCartney spoke about it recently on a podcast that they are releasing the song. Of course, only 2 living members, so they need AI help. Here is Paul McCartney on a CNN podcast.
So it has great uses. So when we came to make what will be the last Beatles record, it was a demo that John had that we worked on. And we've just finished it up. It'll be released this year. We were able to take John's voice and get it pure through this AI, so that then we could mix the record as you would normally do. So it gives you some sort of leeway. So there's a good side to it, and then a scary side.
So Paul McCartney teased that about a month ago, and people obviously thought, well, how are they going to clean up John Lennon's vocals? Ringo Starr now is the other living Beatle to clarify what he meant. He said that they would never fake the late John Lennon's vocals for the new track. They're instead using AI to clean up previously recorded snippets. Okay. The song will also feature the voice of the late George Harrison, Ringo confirmed overnight. So obviously the AI is not replacing their voices, it's just cleaning them up. Ringo Starr's birthday, about to be 83, July 7th this week. Wow, 83. It's amazing. And talking on the use of AI, I know they did that, I think, for Val Kilmer in the Top Gun remake movie. It's so clever how they're able to do that, help with the assistance of voice alteration. So, yeah, I'll be intrigued to see how it works, but 83, goodness me, it's great that we've still got 2 of those living members of the Beatles, but John Lennon and George Harrison, they were integral to it as well. But I'm sure people will be hanging out to hear what that sounds like when it does get released. For sure. Let's check traffic for the second time this morning for your drive-in, just as the sun is about to come up. Here's what you're in for.
Thanks, Lucy. Pretty smooth sailing for the run-in on Monday. Got to be happy with that. However, do have a burst water main to keep in mind at Urbray. This one's Glen Osmond Road at the bottom of the freeway. In the Parklands, traffic lights out of action there. South Terrace near Wilcox Street. She's slow at the moment. South Road, Edwardstown, with new works there for Ashfield near Bunnings. Speeds are down to 40. And look out for cameras. Gorge Road, Athelston, and Lyons Road at Turnett Court. Looking for the perfect snack? Try Porto's new chips and strips. 2 crispy chicken strips and snack chips with your choice of dipping sauce. Just $5. Grab yours from a Porto today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
Hello, Tony.
Every 6 or 8 weeks or so, I've put out an extra green bin.
Yeah.
I've received this letter from the Unley Council. Here are the fees for the extra bin.
See, this is why we all hate councils, and they do nothing to help themselves in that regard.
Get rid of them. Get rid of them.
Exactly.
Weekday mornings from 9.
This is why councils get such a bad name, through BS like this. Pick up the bin, so what?
On 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
Over 60,000 Adelaide homes have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, Your Energy Saving Solutions. What's keeping you? Your Energy Saving Solutions can connect you with the SA government initiative called REPS. To save money on heating this winter, Yes is offering eligible households a 2.6 kilowatt Rinnai system for only $699. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's yes.net.au.
What's the best thing about winter? Definitely the Bob Burns Blinds Winter Warmer Special. Get super cozy with up to 40% off. That's up to 40% off our entire range of curtains and blinds, including our energy-efficient window coverings. With Bob Burns Blinds, you'll get that quality show home look, and you'll save money on energy bills by trapping the heat in your home. Get set for winter now with the Bob Burns Blinds Winter Warmer Special. Book your free measure and quote at bobburnsblinds.com.au.
Now, this is a sensitive topic, but an important one. Have you or a loved one served in the Australian Navy, Army or Air Force? The Royal Commission into Defence and Veteran Suicide wants to hear about your military experience. It could be about suicide or mental health or other aspects of military life, such as recruitment, training, deployment, leadership, injury management, transition to civilian life or family support. Sharing your story will help the Commission create a safer, stronger and better Australian Defence Force. Submissions close on the 13th of October. So please call 1800 329 095, that's 1800 329 095, or visit the website defenceveteransuicide.royalcommission.gov.au. And remember, if you are struggling, please call Lifeline on 13 11 14 for 24/7 crisis support.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
5AA Breakfast with Tom Rehn and Lucy Lokan.
The Cherry Motor 5. State-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
7:21 on this Monday morning. We were just talking about the protests in France, currently lasting 5 days. We've seen huge amounts of civilian unrest, more than 700 people arrested in the protest. Laurie in Balaclava has given us a ring. Morning, Laurie.
Good morning, Lucy. Good morning, Tom. How are you?
Good, thank you, Laurie.
Thank you.
Now, these protests in France have been going for 57 weeks straight. It's not just a new protest. It's been ongoing for over a year now. It's been constantly, initially the protest started off with the illegal refugees and the unfair treatment of parishioners compared to the refugees. And then, of course, it escalated again regards the retirement ages changing. They've had million-man marches back in January. It was 1 million people on the roads of France protesting in a million-man march. It has been going on and on and on and on because the government over there is so out of tune and out of touch with the people that they are supposed to represent that they've had enough.
Have you been to France, Laurie?
I have. Many, many years ago, I actually rode through France on push bike.
Wow.
It took me 4 weeks. And beautiful, beautiful country, a lot of relatives over there. But the out-of-touch government to the people is just phenomenal over there. They just don't care what the people think. They're just pushing their own agenda. And the people have had enough. They're saying, no, we want our France. We want our nature, our heritage, our history. We don't want to be doing what everybody else does. We don't want the government telling us what to do. We want to live our lives. stop forcing your agendas. And France is a powder keg for what's happening all over the world.
Yeah.
But they're willing to stand up and say something about it. The rest of us seem to be like sheep and going, okay, whatever you say.
Yeah, you're right, Laurie. The year-long protest is definitely something that bubbles in and out of the news service, and I guess it takes a 17-year-old being shot by police to bring it back into focus, which is awful.
That's the catalyst, though, isn't it, for these heightened, feelings that are happening over there at the moment, and protests now.
And sometimes it's tough to believe where Laurie is in Balaclava, which I know quite well. It's just a little country town in the mid-north. And even here in Adelaide, we don't see any kind of protests against police like that or any actions by police like that. It's really hard to relate to.
Yeah, it is.
Let's chat about something we can all relate to in some way, of course, the footy. Let's get our breakfast 7:20 sport update. $17 schnitty Monday to Wednesday at the Albion, Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and Lighthouse Wharf. You just know it's a borough. Tommy, let's do our footy wrap, shall we?
Yeah, it was an amazing weekend of footy, and I mean, there was no more incredible game across the 9 matches than the one played out between Essendon and Port Adelaide. So, tight match. It looked like Port Adelaide in the first quarter were really going to stream away with it. They just couldn't kick straight, unfortunately, and then the Bombers sort of hit back, but then Port Adelaide got 16, 17 points in front in the final term with about 7 or 8 minutes to play, and they looked like they were going to win, but to Essendon's credit, they kept on coming, and they booted 3 goals in about 5 minutes in tough conditions. It had been really wet, and then led by 2 points. Quick kick outside of their defensive 50, marked by Dan Houston with about 6 or 7 seconds to play. He had a chance to win it from 55, 60 metres out, and this is how it unfolded on 5AA.
There's the siren. Dan Houston is 50 out. He'll have to kick from 55.
Port Adelaide's 100% from close ones this year. Does that stay intact?
Here comes Dan Houston for the moment of all moments for Port Adelaide. It's online. It's on the line. Punched over from Essendon.
It'll be a review.
This is SCG all over again. It is. It is. We're going to score review.
Score review.
Absolutely score review.
Please check that.
Umpire's call is a goal.
Here we go. It's over, fellas. Port Adelaide have done it again.
I think that was Tugger's call of his career.
Yeah, he nailed it. It was such a great call, and it was Dan Houston, who is a beautiful kick. He
was
flushed.
confident.
He flushed that kick. It was. There's not many players in the competition, Lucy, from that distance, in those conditions, on that angle, that can kick that goal. I'm thinking maybe a dozen in the competition that can get the distance and to kick, under that pressure. They just keep getting it done. Brilliant call by Sam Tugwell, as you said. He's a young star. So delighted that he nailed the moment as well as he did. But so delighted for Port Adelaide and Ken Hinkley. 13-2. He nailed it as well in the sense that it was like the SCG, except it was the Swans who had the chance at goal and it didn't quite make the distance. This one goes over the line. It's those little moments, Lucy, that can all add up and count towards what will hopefully be a magical season for the Power. They've got to get it done, of course, in finals, but they're doing everything they can right now, sitting in second spot. 12 wins in a row. Remember their previous best winning streak ever in the AFL was 8. They've won 12. I mean, they are smashing that record. They've got Gold Coast at home this week. They should win that. Still got a tough draw home, Port. I reckon they've got almost the toughest draw in the competition. Then they travel away the week after that and another tricky game in Carlton away. But they're going great guns, doing really well. We should touch on the Crows while we're talking football as well. Another dominant display at home. And they continue to win and win really comfortably at home, Lucy. And what I'm loving is their forward prowess. Isaac Rankin, one of his best games of the year, and he's had a fantastic year. 30 goals for the season. He boots 5. He's averaging 2 a game. Fogarty, he booted 4 goals. Only had 11 touches, but still really prominent with 4 goals. And Taylor Walker leads the Coleman with 3 goals, 46 goals for the year. His previous best in a season is 63. He's going to smash that, and he's 33. If he wins the Coleman, he'll be the second oldest ever Coleman medal winner behind Gary Ablett Sr. in 1995. He's 33, Taylor Walker. It's a phenomenal achievement to be playing your best football at the age he is, but he's doing it, and the Crows are a big chance to make the finals. I think they will. Huge game for them, though. They've now got Essendon like Port did last week. They've got them at Marvel Stadium. If they can win that, it will give them a huge leg up because Essendon's one of those teams they've got to push out. So, great win for the Crows on the weekend.
Here is the final siren, Crows versus Kangaroos.
Work well done from the Crows. They had to bounce back after last week. And they've done exactly that. Umpire throws it back, and they cement themselves inside the top 8 with a 66-point win. Adelaide, too good.
Good call there by you, Tommy.
A little bit less exciting than the one that Tuggers had.
Matt from Lindock's given a call on the footy. Morning, Matt.
G'day, Lucy. G'day. Oh, God, Tom?
Yeah, that's it, Matty. You got it.
Sorry about that, mate. Yeah, I was watching that game that on Saturday night there, and I had my lad in my arms, and when Dan Houston had that, and I said to my wife, I said, "We've got this. We've got it." And I nearly threw my 4-year-old son through the roof.
Well, I'm glad you didn't, Matty.
Well, and also, with poached eggs, yeah, Vegemite, yep, bloody beautiful.
Oh, nice. That's
Thank
a
you,
few.
Matt. Another one with the poached eggs with Vegemite combo.
3 or 4 this morning, isn't it?
We'll have to try it.
I'll tell you what, if he was confident, there weren't too many that worked. I know Ken Hinkley had a big smile on his face, but I'm glad Matt had that confidence and held... Yeah, and didn't let go of his son, his 4-year-old. I'm sure he was tempted to throw him up, but he kept a hold of him, which was a good thing.
Sports show tonight is Warren Treadray and Sam Tugwell for the week. Rowie and Timmy G are off on their media break, so tune in from 4. They will have more of the cricket and footy discussion. Coming up in the rest of the show, Premier Peter Malinauskas in studio from 8 o'clock. 8:35, American physicist Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. But up after the break, after the news rather, we're chatting about dry July and non-alcoholic wine with Dorum Pfeiffer.
This is it. You have just 3 days until the absolute final deadline in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. It could be you winning the $4 million Scott Salisbury Grand Prize and living the good life. With over 13,000 prizes, you have a 1 in 15 chance of winning. But hurry, you've only got 3 days to join the fight and get your tickets. See full lottery details at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14364.
Now, we all know that ASIC Couriers are a great SA family business. The whole family is involved. They support local communities, the whole lot. But they're also a business doing great things for your business.
That's right, Tommy. ASIC Couriers pride themselves on being able to deliver for your business in a safe and timely manner. Their drivers undergo intensive training and the ASIC compliance team regularly audit their fleet.
And with all the technology they use, I'm talking satellite navigation, real-time GPS and all of that, it allows the ASIC Couriers to collect your job quickly, travel on the most efficient route and, most importantly, make deliveries on time.
It is amazing how all their technology works. It's all in real time, so you can see where it is and how far away it is. So whatever your business needs delivered, don't risk it, ace it.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 15 with the 7:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Complete windscreen supply and fit, front, rear and door glass. Proudly South Australian since 1976.
The MCC has apologised to the Australian cricket team for the behaviour of members in the long room. Players were abused as they returned to the dressing room for lunch, moments before Johnny Bairstow had been controversially dismissed by Alex Carey. 9 News Ashes correspondent Mark Nicholas says it doesn't make sense.
For the Australians to get abused for this strikes me as very odd. I mean, the law of the game is pretty clear, and he's out. The spirit of the game is an interesting thing, a sort of template of idealism. It's really a guideline to how you want cricket to be played in the spirit of friendship and respect.
And we'll have more on the Aussies' win in sport. There's major concerns another rate rise could plunge Australia into a recession. Economists are divided on whether or not the RBA will put a pause on rates or increase them again at tomorrow's monthly meeting. Inflation dropped to 5.6% in May, but the Reserve wants to see it down to between 3 and 4%. There are calls for an inquiry into the deal to merge the universities of Adelaide and SA. It'll cost taxpayers almost $500 million, but Greens Upper House MP Robert Sims says it needs further scrutiny.
This is the biggest shake-up of our university sector in South Australia in generations. It is ludicrous to suggest that the Parliament should just provide a rubber stamp and wave it through.
The tertiary education union's also concerned about job cuts and a poorer student experience, saying bigger isn't always better. But Deputy Premier Susan Close disagrees.
In Australia, bigger is better in universities. We've seen a whole lot of interstate universities go shooting up the global rankings, and they're all much bigger than the University of Adelaide and the University of South Australia. If we bring us together, then we're immediately one of the biggest universities in the country, and that will help with making sure that we are globally competitive.
A drunk driver has crashed his car at Edinburgh overnight. Senior Constable Rhett Davis says his car ran off the road into trees on Purling Avenue.
Luckily, the driver, a 65-year-old man from Salisbury Heights, escaped any injuries, but the driver submitted to an alcohol test which allegedly returned a positive reading of .128. The man lost his licence to 6 months and was reported for drink, driving and aggravated drive without due care, and he will be summoned to appear in court at a later date.
Federal police have busted a transnational drug syndicate after discovering drugs hidden in French cars. Border Force officials intercepted a shipment of 2 vans in Melbourne, allegedly finding 84 kilos of ketamine inside. 2 men have been charged. Indonesian President Joko Widodo will arrive in Sydney tonight ahead of 3 days of talks. Climate, regional security and the economy will be top of the agenda when he meets with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Mr Widodo says he's looking forward to the meeting and is keen to strengthen ties with Australia.
Prime Minister Albanese is my close friend. He is warm and friendly, and I feel close with him.
And Foreign Minister Penny Wong says she's honoured by an invitation to visit Ukraine but won't be able to make it this year. The Ukrainian ambassadors issued an invitation to Senator Wong to visit the war-torn country. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Jono Edwards.
Thank you, Kendall. To our breaking story, Nick Kyrgios has withdrawn from Wimbledon due to a wrist injury. Tony Jones is in London covering the tournament.
It's a long way to come for a practice session, that's for sure. It is quite extraordinary. There was always that element of doubt about Nick Kyrgios because he is such an unpredictable character at the best of times. And when he spoke today, and we spoke with him one-on-one, and we spoke with him at the media conference, he was downcast because it had been so damn frustrating for him since last October. But his mindset was such that he was going to play. He was going to give it a red-hot crack. He was still confident in his serving. But there was always this sort of like cautionary note to it, and while it is a shock, there's that element of maybe we weren't that surprised.
Let's head to some cricket, and England is crying foul over Australia's 43-run win in the second Ashes Test, following a controversial stumping of Johnny Bairstow. Our very own Alex Carey threw the ball at the stumps after the final ball of an over, having noticed Bairstow repeatedly leave his crease. England captain Ben Stokes is questioning whether it's in the spirit of the game, but Aussie captain Pat Cummins says it was fair play.
Kez, full credit to him, saw the opportunity. I think Johnny did have a few balls beforehand, rolled it at the stumps. Johnny left his crease. You leave the rest to the umpires.
Australia is now 2-0 up in the series. Let's head to some cycling, and Frenchman Victor Lafay has won Stage 2 of the Tour de France. Stage 1 winner Adam Yates remains the yellow jersey holder. To some racing, and Red Bull Max Verstappen has won the Formula One Austrian Grand Prix. It was a full sweep for the Dutchman, who also took out the sprint and was fastest in practice and qualifying. Yesterday in the SANFL, the Bays defeated Central Districts by 63 points, the Crows going down to the Roosters by 9 points, and a shock upset for Sturt going down to Norwood by 29 points. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Planning a function? Speak to the Adelaide Convention Centre team to elevate your vision for your next event.
We've got a big good look out for this morning at Holden Hill, Grange Junction Road near Keystone Avenue. In the Parklands, traffic lights out of action, South Terrace near Wilcox Street. O'Bray, Burst Watermain, Glen Osmond Road at the bottom of the freeway, and starting to get busy South Road at Edwardstown with new asphalt works just near Bunnings and Castle Plaza. Cameras, Fisher Street, Malvern, and Goodwood Road at Colonel Light Gardens. Choosing to build with Bradford Homes is a wise choice. Backed by the expertise of Scott Salisbury, they're the local SA builder you can trust. Visit bradfordhomes.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEAA.
When you've earned your dream bathroom, speak to Bathrooms by Design, Clovelly Park and Lonsdale.
Cloudy and 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, also 15. A late shower or two on Wednesday, 17, and showers on Thursday, 15. At the moment, 7. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
FIVEAA Breakfast with Tom Rehn and Lucy Lokan.
Test drive the Cherry Emoda 5 at Cherry Glen Osmond from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Go Cherry.
7:37 this Monday morning. David and Will off on a mid-year break. Lucy and Tom Rehn in the chairs till Friday. Coming up after 8 o'clock, Premier Peter Malinauskas will be in studio discussing the university merger that Adelaide will see by 2026. It is the Movie Bowl. Tom gets to pick 2 movies for me to potentially watch.
I've got 5 at the moment, so I need to get it down to 2 though, don't I?
Got to whittle it down to 2 for the listeners to vote by 8:20. We'll be drawing those movies. And after 8:30, Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, American astrophysicist in Australia, doing a national tour. Really looking forward to chatting with him. But now, if you are sitting in bed all warm and you're wondering what to do, jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. We have Dorum Pfeiffer in studio from Triple Creek Winery, based in the Barossa. Good morning, Dorum.
Good morning. How are we this morning?
Very good. We're excited because not only is it July, it is dry July. Many people choose to give up alcohol or change their routines around alcohol. And you've incredibly given us some wine to drink right now, but safely there's none in it, no alcohol.
No, that's the whole plan, is to make up a beautiful substitute wine that has no alcohol, so that instead of giving up wine altogether, you can have an alternate to the alcoholic version. And then, when you'll finish your dry July, you can refresh your palate with some more of the Triple Creek alcoholic wines, if you're interested.
Well, and that's a great idea. And the other thing it does do is if you head on perhaps a winery tour, we were just talking off air, and you have a designated driver, you can still partake in the tastings and everything else that's going on and still be a part of it and feel that you're not missing out socially.
Yeah, correct. So that's our big philosophy there, is when we do tastings, is to show a range of non-alcoholic wines. And yes, there's some slight differences, but the gap's not as big as it used to be. And the market's really growing in that area, and the developments come through. Lucky for me, many years ago, Dad developed the process to strip alcohol out of wine, but then rebuild it back with all the characteristics. So, yes, you miss the alcohol, and it gives it a little bit of complexity variation, but generally you see not the big gap that it used to be 5 or 10 years ago.
Which is really smart because, if we got to July, otherwise, it would be a time when, wineries and other alcoholic industries would say, oh, goodness, this is going to be a difficult month for us. But instead of, just sort of burying your head in the sand, you've embraced it and adapted.
Yeah, correct. And the whole philosophy is that, instead of going to another beverage that's got no alcohol or to a soft drink, you can continue on your path and have a glass of wine while you're cooking dinner without any alcohol. And you'll be amazed, since putting it out on the market, how it's been embraced, where people are buying several bottles to enjoy during the week when they just want to have a couple of days not drinking alcohol. So gone are the days where I'm not allowed to drink for a health reason or pregnancy or other issue. It's become a lifestyle choice, which is great for the industry, because the industry's going through its ups and downs, as we all see, and this hopefully gives it some consistency.
So Triple Creek, Dorum, you are based in Seppeltsfield in the Barossa, beautiful part of the world. What have you brought in today? What have we got here?
So what we've got our sparkling, our non-alcoholic sparkling wine.
Which I'm giving a try right now. You've got one too?
Yeah, I got a sparkling.
Cheers, Lou.
It's 7:40 in the morning.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Yeah, you can hear that. Beautiful.
So this is sparkling. It's got a bit of the Chardonnay base and some Colombard in there. And all our non-alcoholic wines are 100% wine. We're not using you see people put indigenous products in there to make it a wine product. These are 100% wine, and to make a good non-alcoholic wine, you've got to start with an alcoholic wine made to a premium level. So the actual cost to create it is higher than making a normal standard wine. So we start with a high alcohol wine, put it through the process that we developed many years ago, and each time you strip out the characteristics of the wine. So you take the aroma off, which is the smell, take the flavour out, distill the alcohol out, but then you've got to rebuild it to give the complexity of a full-bodied wine. And the alcohol is the hardest thing to replace, because that gives it the texture and the body weight. And you see that more in the red, but the sparkling and the white, beautiful.
Is it hard to do that process, or is it costly, or does it take a lot of time? How difficult is that process to extract the alcohol?
Yeah, it's a difficult process, and to get it right, you need to start. You need to make a commitment.
Mm.
So to do it properly, you really need to put through a large. So, for example, 5,000 litres through the machine, and you've got to handle it gently through the process. So it is a timely process, but once you create it and rebuild it, you then need to bottle it almost immediately.
Yep.
So you don't lose those characteristics because the alcohol protects it from a lot of things.
And then I've got the white here as well.
Is that Chardonnay?
Straight Chardonnay, yeah.
Lovely.
So this Chardonnay's got many parts to it.
And you wouldn't know that it doesn't have alcohol in it. To drink it, it's beautiful. Tastes just like a regular Chardonnay. It's beautiful. It's stunning. Goes down smoothly.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially at 7:45 in the morning. Now we've got a red as well, I believe.
Yep. Now that's the straight Shiraz. So we went the 3 traditional grape varieties that Australia's known for. So Chardonnay, Shiraz, and Sparkling. And 2 months ago we did our first shipment to the UK, and it's been really well received over there because they understand the grape variety and they know the characteristics they're looking for in those grape varieties.
It's you're told not to mix your drinks. I think I've just gone from Sparkling to Chardonnay to red pretty quickly, but that's okay. Delicious. Is this the biggest growth area in the wine industry, or one of the?
Yeah, there's a lot of hype around non-alcoholic wine at the moment.
Yeah.
And the hardest push, yes, it's going to be a massive growth for wine and the wine industry, but the hardest point is the supermarkets where a lot of people sell this non-alcoholic wine. In the foreign countries, and mainly the UK, you're used to shopping for alcohol in a supermarket. You go to a supermarket in Australia that's not licensed to sell alcohol, and you ask them to buy a bottle for $18 to $20. It's a big spend in the basket. So we've got to change people's mindsets that, we're selling this a lot in the independent bottle shops, liquor stores, and some supermarkets. And we've got a great supporter in A&A Drinks there on Hutt Street, that this wine is selling for $24 a bottle in those outlets. So 18 to 24, and people are understanding non-alcoholic wines to be a wine. Like they got beer because it was easy to replicate. They got some of the spirits that are easy to replicate. The hardest one to do is wine, and it's taken us this period of time to get it nearly right. And in the next couple of batches, that the Shiraz particularly will really build up that palate weight.
Durham, what about those that say, you know what, I'm not a massive fan of Dry July, just like a nice bottle in one of the cooler months? What's popular at the moment with the winery for you at the moment? What's just walking out the door?
By way of alcoholic wine? Yeah, so we pride ourselves, we're doing a Mataro. So our Mataro is in between your Merlot and your big, bold Shiraz. And so the Floss Triple Creek Wines it's a new brand, and it's next to Antley Farm, and it's in Seppeltsfield. Why do a Shiraz or a Grenache or something that's been going for years? We're going to try and be the hero of Mataro. And our Mataro has got all the complexities of a full-bodied big red, but it's still soft and subtle. My business partner in Melbourne, he's a Pinot man. I tease him all the time. I said, there you go, here's your Pinot alternative. So we got his mates onto it, and now we've got some sales.
Well, Doran, thank you so much for allowing us to drink on air at 7:30 in the morning, very safely, no alcohol in the sparkling Chardonnay nor the Shiraz. Thank you so much for coming in, and we appreciate you sharing Triple Creek Winery with us.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks for the time.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Let's check traffic for your drive in this morning.
Thanks, Lucy. At Holden Hill, minor bingle on Grange Junction Road near Keystone Avenue. Kings Park, another collision there. Goodwood Road at Crossroad. O'Brien, Burst Watermain, Glen Osmond Road at the bottom of the freeway. I'm quite busy at the moment, South Road, Edwardstown, with works near Castle Plaza at Bunnings. Cameras today, Anzac Highway, Glandor and Fisher Streets at Malvern. Aussie-owned, the Lottery Office has a massive $783 million up for grabs in the USA Power Lotto. Visit lotteryoffice.com.au now before it's gone. Adelaide's most accurate traffic guide, 5AA.
G'day, it's Baz from FIVEAA Milk Company. Just wanted to make sure you knew that our milk only comes from SA dairy farmers. So make sure the milk you buy is only from SA dairy farms. Because you see, no matter how tough it gets out there, our dairy farmers always put you first. So let's support them. Look for FIVEAA Milk Company products in your supermarket. 3 words make all the difference. FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian first and proud of it.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem, or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware, and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make.
Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. At Lynn Andrews Real Estate, we've seen a lot of change in the property market over the last 50 years, but one thing remains constant: our passion to help people invest in the future, to build strong property portfolios in commercial and residential real estate. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share with you. We are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
This month, all kids 14 and under get to go to the footy for free.
What about that?
That's all games between rounds 16 and 19 of the 2023 Toyota AFL Premiership season. From selfies to screamers and tasty treats.
Spectacular!
Make it an awesome day for the family with a day out at the footy. Kids go free rounds 16 to 19.
Go to afl.com.au/kidsmonth. Terms and conditions apply, subject to capacity and availability.
Now, we know costs of living are difficult at the moment, Lucy, and over 60,000 Adelaide homes have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, Your Energy Saving Solutions. That's YESS. What's keeping you?
So if you're hoping to save money on heating this winter, Your Energy Saving Solutions can connect you with the SA government initiative called REPS. You might be eligible for a 2.6 kilowatt Rehn system fully installed for only $699.
Yep, that's right, $699. Now, did you know that you might be eligible for a rebate on a new appliance like a dryer or a fridge? Just visit the Yes website. That's YESS, that website, for a list of appliances and the size of the cashback available. Even businesses can save with Yes, with rebates available on LED lighting upgrades for as little as $33.
For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's YESS.net.au.
Babe, why is there a boat in our driveway?
Yes.
And new golf clubs in the laundry?
Right, well...
And do you know anything about a holiday booking in the Maldives?
Yeah, babe.
Did we win the lottery?
Babe.
Did you get a promotion?
Babe.
Oh no, you're having a midlife crisis.
Babe, chill. I went to Cosco Energy Group.
Cosco?
Yeah, KOZCO. They've installed a new solar system on the roof, so now we're saving on power.
Cosco Energy Group, the experts at reducing your power costs. Cosco.com.au.
Babe, why is there a motorbike helmet on the table?
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
5AA Breakfast with Tom Rehn and Lucy Lokan.
The Cherry Motor 5. State-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
10 to 8 on your Monday morning. After 8 o'clock, Premier Peter Malinauskas on the Unis merger. If you've got any thoughts on the Uni merger, 8223 0000. Is it a good idea, not a good idea? You've got no sentiments about it at all? We'd love to gauge how Adelaide is feeling about it, or shoot us a text on the Dutton's text line 0448 08 1395. Also, after 8:30 today, astrophysicist Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Fascinating to always chat about something sciencey on this show. It's a huge gap in my knowledge, but no doubt he will shed some light while he's doing his Australian tour.
Yeah, and some really intriguing things that he's going to be talking about as well, Lucy. So looking forward to doing that just after 8:30 this morning.
On the line now is Ainsley Kosh from 9 News in Adelaide. She covered the story yesterday. Marion Shopping Centre, 5 people arrested and a knife seized after a wild brawl yesterday afternoon. Good morning to you, Ainsley.
Good morning.
Tell us what happened, when, where, whereabouts at the Westfield did this happen?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, this frightening incident happened at Marion Shopping Centre around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. A group of young people got involved in an alleged fight in front of dozens of horrified shoppers and staff inside the centre. It happened in front of Foot Locker on the ground level of the shopping centre. Witnesses told me that the group of young people started fighting in front of Foot Locker and then sort of moved down towards Skechers, which is a couple of doors down, and then back towards Foot Locker. So as you can imagine, there would have been lots of frightened people watching. That time of the afternoon, there were lots of families around. So very frightening for everyone involved. Some staff actually told me that they had to shut their roller doors to keep themselves and other people safe inside. So, a frightening incident for everybody involved.
It's a really good point you make, Ainsley. I go there quite often. It's my local Westfield, and take the boys there for a haircut or to go and see a movie. We weren't there yesterday, but most Sundays we often are. And it sounds like it was just that from the people you spoke to, those witnesses, that they were in disbelief. And you're right about people shutting those roller doors. The world we live in now, you can't be too careful. So I'm sure people were, almost just hiding and thinking that their lives might be in danger.
Absolutely, and even more frightening, police say one of the young boys involved was allegedly armed with a knife and was using that to threaten other people. So even more frightening, police actually tracked the group down not too far away on Morford Road a little later in the afternoon, arresting all 5 people involved. 3 boys have since been charged with a fray, and then 2 other women on unrelated drugs charges. But yeah, certainly concerning considering it. It happened in the middle of the afternoon at a busy shopping centre. As you said, you've been there before. It's a huge thoroughfare on the ground level there. So lots of people around. A lot of people have been commenting on social media too, saying this isn't the first time something like this has happened. A lot of people are saying they've witnessed similar incidents at Marion before, which is also very concerning to hear.
Ainsley, do you know when they're all expected to be in court?
Look, not at this stage. Police held them in custody overnight and they've been charged as of this morning. So I can't imagine it would be too far away. But at this stage, police are still asking people with information, any witnesses or anybody else who might know something about the incident to come forward to help them with those investigations.
And difficult as well, as you say, such a big complex, Ainsley, but I guess one of the questions a lot of shop owners and business owners there will be asking today is, are they going to get some increased security moving forward?
Of course, and I mean, no shopper, no staff member wants to have to deal with this sort of thing. Staff don't want to have to see this happen at work. Every worker has a right to feel safe when they're on the job. I mean, pulling down the roller doors isn't the ideal scenario. I'm sure they'll be hoping to increase security there or something of that nature because I'm sure they wouldn't want anything like this to happen again.
Ainsley, thank you. Ainsley Kosh there for 9 News in Adelaide. Who was there? If you were there at Marion yesterday at 3 o'clock by the Foot Locker and you witnessed any of it, we'd love to hear from you. 8223 0000. A text here on the Duttons text line. Check out all the end of fin year offers at Duttons dealerships in Mount Barker and Murray Bridge. TP says the kids who commit crime just need to go straight to jail. The judges are so soft on these young criminals. The parents need to take responsibility on their kids, and if they don't, they need to be fined heavily.
Yeah, and I think that's a sentiment that's shared by a lot of people that are listening in this morning, Lucy. 044808 1395 is the Duttons text line. If you want to join in the conversation, we'd certainly love to hear from you, particularly if you were there yesterday and have a first-hand account of what indeed happened at the Marion Shopping Centre.
We mentioned there, and that text points it out, the kids and the parents, but these kids, just to rehash, they're teenagers, 17, 16, 17, then 19 and 20. So the 19 and the 20-year-olds, they're adults. They, for lack of better wording, they can't be controlled.
Well, they should know better. And,
they should know better.
We'll wait to see what happens when they do go to court, but when, it's one thing to have a dispute and to have a fight, if you like, but to bring it into the public where there are other innocent bystanders watching on is totally inappropriate, and I'm sure the book will be thrown at them, and I think a lot of people would be hoping that they are brought to justice by the full court of the law.
We are chatting about the university merger after the 8 o'clock news with our Premier. Andrew from Blackwood has texted in the name of rationalisation, the Keating government closed UniSA campuses at Underdale and Salisbury, and we lost a purpose-built centre for training tech studies and home economics teachers. To this day, we still suffer from a shortage of tech studies teacher. This merger is wrong.
Yeah, and we're going to talk to the Premier, as you said, just after 8 o'clock. And a lot coming through as well, Lucy, on the cricket last night. The Australians were booed. That's after Alex Carey threw down the stumps for Johnny Bairstow, who went out of his crease. And they were saying that it was not in the spirit of cricket. Some people were saying Australia does its fair share of booing at sporting venues. So to say that booing at the cricket was unsportsmanlike is hypocritical, that one coming through. Others as well getting involved, saying that the English just need to suck it up after the Australians went 2-0 up in the Ashes series, and that Ben Stokes has had his fair share of decisions and spirit of cricket things going his way. He ran on an overthrow in the 2019 World Cup one-day final against New Zealand. You're not supposed to do that, and that was a draw, so they wouldn't have won had he done that. So there's quite a mix of emotions that are coming through on the text line this morning after Australia went 2-0 up in that controversial finish to the Test match last night at Lords.
You can jump, of course, onto the Facebook live stream, all thanks to Foodland Supermarkets. Couple of comments there in support of Vegemite and Wheat Bix. But Richard also continuing the gentle prodding of Tom Wren's attire. Is Tom dressed as a footy umpire today?
Yeah, I could well be.
The bright yellow with the black logo, it's standing out.
I tell you what, I'd want to be careful. It's probably a good thing. Rowy's not on today, is he?
No.
Because if he saw me, the way he's getting upset at the moment, and he's not alone, to be honest, by the adjudication of some decisions from the umpires, I think I'm glad that he's not on, because I could be in some real trouble if he saw me face-to-face wearing what I've got on. I do look a bit like an umpire at the moment.
Oh, you look all right, Tommy. Brightening up the room. Coming up is the 8 o'clock news with Kendall and Jono, and we'll be taking your calls and your thoughts based on the university merger with our Premier Peter Malinauskas after the news.
Eddie May here from NRG Solar. I'll buy a battery when they get a bit cheaper. Well, that was all of us back in 2010. But now, they're no longer getting cheaper at all. At NRG Solar, we won't be beaten on the price of a quality home battery, and we'll help you get started. We'll set you up with 13.5 kilowatt hours of storage, a 10-year warranty, blackout protection, and an awesome, easy-to-use app. So don't put it off any longer. Visit nrgsolar.com.au today.
What's on your bucket list? Skydiving? Swimming with dolphins? Hot air ballooning? Before you plan a bucket list, plan your will with Donlan Lawyers. A will, power of attorney and advanced care directive speak for you when you can't. It means you and your loved ones will be taken care of. Visit donlanlawyers.com. Put it on your bucket list. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. On time, on budget, on the job.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Some builders think a sloping block has limitations. When Beechwood Homes look at a sloping block, they think, the possibilities. Beechwood Homes know how to make the most of a sloping block. In fact, they specialise in them. Beechwood will design a home that works with the land you have, taking full advantage of every square metre. So if you're looking at a sloping block, go for it. Beechwood has your back. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 15 with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Chipped windscreen? Complete Windscreens can repair it from just $99. Look for the big red koala.
British cricket fans have been suspended for verbally abusing Australian players during the second Ashes test at Lords. Sam Jordan's there.
Extraordinary scenes in an Ashes series that has already proved to be stunning. 3 members of the prestigious Marylebone Cricket Club have been suspended pending an investigation after hurling vile abuse at the Australian cricket team at Lords. It came after a contentious wicket, keeper Alex Carey throwing down Johnny Bairstow's stumps as he stepped out of his crease at the end of the over. It was a wicket as per the laws of the game, but the moment will be spoken about for a very long time.
And we'll have more on the Aussies' win in the second test in sport. A roadblock's emerging for the state government's uni merger plan. The opposition and minor parties are calling for a parliamentary inquiry into the deal to merge the universities of Adelaide and SA. It'll cost taxpayers almost $500 million. Andrew Miller from the National Union for Tertiary Education's also concerned about job losses.
If the Premier thinks the merger is such a great idea, then prove it. Let there be an open investigation.
A crackdown on scammers will ramp up today with the federal government launching its new National Anti-Scam Centre in Melbourne. More from Fiona Willan.
A task force aimed at detecting and disrupting scammers is set to spring into action as operations begin at the National Anti-Scam Centre. The so-called hit squad includes experts from banks, telecommunications and digital industries, led by the consumer and corporate watchdogs. They'll focus on addressing urgent, high-profile or damaging scams. in particular those targeting Australians with phony investment opportunities, which currently cost victims more than $1 billion a year.
Police are appealing for witnesses to a street robbery at Semaphore Park last night. Around 10:30, a teenager was approached by three men in a dark-coloured car on Bower Road. He was assaulted and robbed of his watch and a black bag containing his mobile phone. The boy suffered minor injuries and sought assistance at a nearby home. Anyone who witnessed the incident or found the boy's belongings is asked to contact Crime Stoppers. The Mayor of Baltimore's vowed to find the person responsible after a mass shooting claimed 2 lives and injured 28 people. It took place at a block party and police are reviewing social media footage to identify the shooter. Brandon Scotts described it as a cowardly act.
We will not stop until we find you, and we will find you. Until then, I hope with every single breath that you take, that you think about the lives that you took.
The mayor of a Paris suburb says his family was the target of an assassination attempt after another night of violence across France. More from Brett McLeod.
Even after days of mayhem, this incident has managed to shock France. The mayor of a southern Paris suburb says at 1:30 in the morning, a car smashed into his property before it was set on fire, his family fleeing in terror. Vincent Jean Brun says his wife broke her leg as they escaped, while one of his 2 young children was injured as they came under attack with fireworks. This follows nights of rioting in the wake of the police shooting of a teenage driver in Paris. Thousands of people have been arrested, authorities still struggling to try to reduce the chaos.
Shell's coming under fire after being accused of trading Russian gas more than a year after pledging to withdraw from its involvement with the country. Advocate group Global Witness has accused Shell of making hundreds of millions of dollars trading Russian gas last year. A spokesperson for Shell says it still has some long-term contractual commitments involving Russian gas. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
Here's John O'Edwards.
Thank you, Kendall. Reigning Wimbledon finalist Nick Kyrgios will not play in this year's tournament. The Australian 30th seed has pulled out ahead of his first round match, citing a wrist injury. Tony Jones is in London covering the tournament and says it came as a shock.
When he did the full-blown media conference in the theaterette here at Wimbledon this afternoon, there was certainly no mention of any discomfort, which he said that he's been experiencing over the past couple of weeks. We then spoke to him one-on-one and he was raring to go. He said his serve's been fantastic, his confidence levels are pretty good. He was using the disappointment of losing last year as his motivation.
To cricket, recapping our top story, Australia's held on to defeat England by 43 runs.
This time, finally got one at the stumps. There might have been an outside edge on it, but it doesn't matter. The contest is done now. Australia win.
Captain Pat Cummins is standing by wicketkeeper Alex Carey following his controversial stumping of Johnny Bairstow.
Yeah, I think Carey, saw it happen a few balls previous. I think 3 or 4 balls previous, and there's no pause. Catch it straight away, have a throw at the stump. So. I thought it was totally fair play. That's how the rule is. I know some people might disagree or what. Just like the catch yesterday, the rule's there. That's how I saw it.
Back home, Port Adelaide ruckman Scott Lysette will be having scans on his injured knee today. The club will be hoping to have him back for finals. At Westlakes, Adelaide defender Jordan Butts will miss next Sunday's clash with Essendon. He was ruled out with concussion after a heavy collision. In the late game yesterday, St Kilda defeated West Coast by 8 points. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Planning a function? Speak to the Adelaide Convention Centre team to elevate your vision for your next event.
At Holden Hill, look out for a few delays with a minor bingle along Grange Junction Road near Keystone Avenue. Got another smash. This one's at Kings Park this morning. Goodwood Road at Cross Road. While at Erbray, Bruce Watermain slowing things up there. Glen Osmond Road at the bottom of the freeway. Quite busy South Road at Edwardstown with works just in front of Castle Plaza there. And look out for cameras McGill Road, McGill and Main North Road at Medindi. Beaumont's only clearance centre is at Richmond. Rush in today for Lepato tiles and sandstone grey and concrete looks from a crazy $29.95. Beaumont's Richmond only. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When you've earned your dream bathroom, speak to Bathrooms by Design, Clovelly Park and Lonsdale.
Cloudy and 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, also 15. A late shower or two on Wednesday, 17, and then showers for Thursday, 15. At the moment, 7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
I heard my mama cry.
Monday morning. David and Will be back in a couple of weeks. They're on their mid-year break, but Tommy and I are here until Friday. Currently saying it's 6.9 in the city, so it has not warmed up at all. Going for a top of 14 today. No rain, but it will be cloudy. Good news on Thursday, though, up to 15 mils of rain expected then.
Yeah.
So if you're needing some for the garden or you're a farmer, just hold out till Thursday. You'll see a deluge then. Excitingly, we are joined in studio by our Premier, Peter Malinauskas. Good morning to you.
Morning, Lucy. Good morning. Morning, Tom.
Morning, Premier.
Big news over the weekend. Came out Saturday night, I think. I was down for dinner on Rundle Street and my friend works at Uni SA. And we haven't discussed this, but she said, everyone's about to get an email.
Yeah.
And as an alumni of Adelaide Uni, I then got one from Adelaide Uni. Tell us about the merger. By 2026, we're going to have a new university.
That's the plan, Lucy. The legislation still needs to get through the Parliament, and I'm certainly not taking that for granted. But should the Parliament approve it, then South Australia will be home to the Adelaide University, which is a combination of the two existing institutions. And I don't think I can overstate it. It's a big deal. It'll mean that Adelaide Uni is the largest educator of domestic students in the country. It's going to have the capacity to educate 13,000 additional kids in our state, which is huge. Allows for the growth in international students. But the big one is about having more research and development, which is important for the state's economy in terms of progressing it forward and moving up the value chain. But secondly, we want to provide more access to more kids to be able to get to university, should that be their choice. And those collective objectives of why the government has backed this plan in as much as we have, and we're serious about it. It's been talked about as a state for a very long time, and this can has been kicked down the road, or it's fallen over at the last hurdle. Now we've got this historic agreement from the two universities themselves saying we want to do this. The government's backing it in, and I really hope that in due course the Leader of the Opposition and other crossbenchers can look at the detail and assess it and realise that it is in the long-term interest of our state.
Premier, I was going to ask you, I went to the University of SA, McGill campus. Lucy went to Adelaide. But a lot of the listeners out there probably saying, you know what, this doesn't directly affect me too much. So in terms of amalgamations, is it going to cost jobs or is it going to cost taxpayers anymore?
Well, the opposite. So in terms of jobs, 13,000 extra students means that we're going to need an extra 1,200 staff working in the university. It's worth, by 2034, to be delivering $500 million each and every year more to the state's economy. So this is all about growth. It's not about shrinking in any way. But in terms of, someone out there who might not have gone to uni or doesn't intend to, what does it mean to the state more broadly? When we're in this cost of living crisis, and all too often the debate turns to, well, how can we reduce the price of petrol? How can we reduce the price of groceries? Reduce the price of energy? And I get that. That's appropriate. But it's also true that we should be talking about how we improve people's incomes. Now, that's a long-term proposition. That's a long-term game. But that's what drives people's standard of living. And you improve people's incomes and the security of their work if they've got a good skill or a good education. That's why we're building our technical colleges in high schools for people to attain trades. But that's why we want to make sure we've got an elite university educating more kids from more diverse backgrounds to have a tertiary qualification so they can get a good job. And that's what's at the heart of this proposition, and that should matter to everybody.
What about Flinders University? That sits separately to this, is that right?
Yes, it does. So when we first announced this policy, and we announced this well ahead of the last election that we wanted to pursue this, we said that we were going to have a commission to get all three unis involved. Since then, Adelaide Uni and Uni SA came to us and said, listen, we're going to talk to each other directly and do our own piece of work, and we said that's fine, we'll put the commission on hold. So this has now replaced the need to do that. But Flinders aren't going to be part of the merger, but Flinders are as an important institution as what this new one would be, and the government will be seeking to support them too, as we always have. And Flinders, and I've naturally been in touch with them, they actually believe that this doesn't diminish their offering. In fact, it may, in actual fact, enhance it from their perspective. So in that regard, that maintenance of competition is a good thing.
What happens with all the courses you can do? Adelaide Uni offers currently ones that you can't do at Uni SA, vice versa. Like physiotherapy, you can do at Uni SA, not at Adelaide Uni.
Correct.
Does that mean now that our new university is like a one-stop shop for everything? Are we combining all of the degrees available so you can literally do everything?
That's right. It's not about diminishing the number of courses. It's about bringing the two together, and that brings in economies of scale that allows the university to go on and grow in other ways. And we're particularly keen on having more research and development in our state, because at the moment, although we have pockets of amazing research in South Australia, we do punch below our weight in terms of the national average, or our per capita share. And that's worthy of addressing, because if we don't address it, and again, this is a long-term proposition that doesn't matter today as much, but it will matter in the long term. If we want to have a more sophisticated economy that does deliver better, secure, better paid work, R&D is central to that productivity and innovation piece, which is what a university should do and do well.
And what about logistically? How does it work from here? It has to go through the Parliament? Is that a fairly exhaustive and long process?
It requires legislative change. It requires a new bill because our universities are public universities. They're established under state acts of Parliament. So we will have to work through the Parliament with that, and that will ultimately require the support of at least one other party in the upper house. I note that the crossbench, the Liberal Party, say they want to have a parliamentary inquiry. I'm not adverse to that. I think in many respects it's a legitimate request. There's a lot of detail there to be worked through that can now be put out on the public record from the universities and the government. So we're willing to work with them on the structure of that. The only thing I would say is, if we're going to have a parliamentary inquiry, let's make sure it's not there to serve a political purpose, but rather it's there to actually analyse it, because on its merit, this does stack up. This is in our long-term future. And we just don't want a parliamentary inquiry to be there for months on end. It needs to have a timeline so that it can be assessed in detail with the view of having legislation passed in the not-too-distant future.
Premier, been a massive few months for your government. From a sporting perspective, it's been outstanding with Gather Round and also, the Live tournament, which was, I think, sensational and an overwhelming success. There's obviously been a few things happening globally with golf. Is there any word on Live and perhaps when it might be next year maybe brought forward, the event, if it does go ahead?
Yeah, look, we're in discussions with Live at the moment about the dates of the event next year. There's a few different options that are being considered by both them and the government. That says to us that the 2024 event or season is going to go ahead as scheduled, and that seems to be consistent with the public commentary out there. But in terms of the arrangement of Live coming together with PGA, in the state government's view, is that that's potentially a very good thing, presents a lot of opportunity, and we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out, because clearly they're working through a lot of detail. But, we hosted an event that exceeded all expectations on every metric, and was a big deal to Live. So whatever formulation Live happens to have into the future, I'm pretty sure Adelaide will be central to it. And if that's got a relationship with the PGA, now that they've resolved all their other issues, then that would be even more special.
Premier, I had a text here asking who you would like to see at the Adelaide 500 this year as our talent act. Have you got any... Someone's asking, will we see Kylie Minogue at the Adelaide 500 this year? She can't play the AFL Grand Final. Well, she's on tour, but at the end of November, we've got Robbie Williams. Will Kylie Minogue be joining him?
I couldn't possibly say. I'm not that I'm aware of at this stage. I don't want to say, oh, maybe, and then that sort of generates all this excitement that it might be happening. But no, Robbie Williams is the star attraction, and after the show that he put on at the AFL Grand Final last year, which was pretty specky, I think there's a lot of South Australians will be excited about that.
And speaking of personal news as well, congratulations are in order. Not sure if we've spoken to you on this program since the announcement that you're expecting a child later this year in November.
Yeah, November. Yeah, no, thanks, Rennie.
So I think first sitting Premier in South Australia to ever have a child whilst in office. You're a busy man.
Well, I think Thomas Playford, I think did under his very substantial...
It was a substantial...
He was around for a long time. But yeah, look, it hasn't happened for a while, whatever the case. And no, look, we're really excited about it. I feel very fortunate. I'm married to an extraordinary woman. It's 4 is going to be chaotic, but we're not the only people to do it, so I'm sure we'll get through.
We have had the opposition leader call in just with his right of response. If you'd like to listen, Premier, pop the headphones on, and we'll pop David Spears on. Good morning to you, opposition leader.
Good morning to you and your listeners.
What are your thoughts on the uni merger?
Look, we're open-minded as an opposition. We've got a lot of questions. I think a lot of people across South Australia do. The headlines sound pretty good, but as the Premier foreshadowed, we are very interested in delving into this in a lot more detail through a parliamentary committee. That gives an opportunity for everyone to have their say, get the evidence on the table, make sure the business cases stack up. We'd like to see those business cases released. We know they might have some commercial details in them that might have to be removed for obvious reasons, but be keen to really delve into this in a bit more detail. Clearly there's an opportunity here, but we want to get it right. These are amongst the state's largest employers and a lot of people are involved.
Thank you, David Spears, State Opposition Leader there. Overwhelmingly there is support for it, but the scrutiny it will have to go through to pass the upper house, is that going to start immediately, investigations into this? Or is
I don't want to waste a moment. We would love to see this legislation passed sooner rather than later, and that's important from the university's perspective. They've got a drumbeat they have to work to in terms of timing, and if the legislation doesn't pass, then it'll put a massive degree of uncertainty into the marketplace, and particularly when you're talking about international students, they want to know what degree they're going to graduate with, and if you don't get the timing right, then you start to compromise future enrolments for both UniSA and Adelaide Uni, because they will operate separately until 2026 and then into the future. So, like I said, I'm happy to work with the opposition and others who want to scrutinise this. They're entitled to do that. It's a big decision. We've got to get it right. Just as long as it doesn't end up being a parliamentary committee that's only about the politics and only about delay. Because if it goes on excessively, then delay becomes denial. So if we're going to do it, if we're going to have a parliamentary inquiry, that's fine. Let's get on with it, but let's make sure that doesn't stop legislation passing in the not-too-distant future, ideally this year.
And Premier, just on Gather Round for next year, venues, when's all that likely to be sort of decided upon with the AFL?
Yeah, ASAP, from our perspective, we've got the dates out there now.
Yep.
Which is good. So it's round 4 next year, in that middle part of the Victorian school holidays. It's going to be the weekend after Easter, which that suits us fine because we want that Victorian school holiday time slot.
Get on over here.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And there's already lots of evidence of people booking everything they can get their hands on. But in terms of the venues, the AFL is still going through a process on that with us. Look, I don't mind saying this publicly. They're very particular about oval size and requirements and playing service and change rooms and coaches' boxes, and then there's requirements of the media. And look, they're a
TV, etc.
TV outlet. And look, they're a professional league. I get that. But as I've been saying for some time, we just want to make sure they're a game in the regions. We love the idea of a game in the Barossa in the future. The Hills worked well this year, even the Caranvale at some point in the future. I'd love to go beyond that in terms of regions, but the AFL is pretty keen to make sure it's within close proximity of the city, which on one level I understand. So look, we don't know definitively. The draw, of course, it gets released later in the year.
Yes.
It may be around then. But the key issue for us was getting those dates locked in so that people can start to book their travel arrangements.
Premier, thank you for your time this morning.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Premier.
Let's check traffic.
Thanks, Lucy. And Regency Park, breakdown on South Road near Grand Junction Road. Seeing delays outbound at the moment. Urbray, look out for a burst water main. That is slowing things up. Glen Osmond Road at the bottom of the freeway. Busy in a few spots, including South Road at Edwardstown, also Fullerton Road at Freeville. And look out for a camera. Fisher Street at Malvern. That one's setting up right now. The Godfrey's 4-day super sale is on now. Grab yourself a hot offer on an expert cleaning solution for your home. Shop in-store or online at Godfrey's today. Hurry, ends tomorrow while stocks last. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
You know what Brodie Smith said was they don't talk to us anymore. There's no communication at all.
That was alarming for me. Now the players...
Nothing.
Brodie said they're not allowed to say anything.
Anything.
So there's no communication. I don't think that's not good for the game.
I don't think so.
Rowie and Timmy G.
You need to be able to have a discussion, not challenge the decision. Now, it's no different to a kid in school. You're allowed to ask a question of the teacher.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware, and adware remain the number one threat. One call to one solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. For fixed price services, call Precise.
For a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Now, Lucy, let's say you've signed a building contract, work is underway on your dream home, everyone's excited, then one day, crunch. Your builder hits rock while digging your footings.
Yeah, what happens next? Well, most builders will send you a nice letter and then bump up their price with a variation.
Yes, but that's not the case at Rossdale Homes. When you sign their absolute fixed price contract, there are no hidden costs or nasty surprises. The price is fixed. That's why it's the industry's strongest contract.
So before you build, talk to Adelaide's most trusted builder, Rossdale Homes, because trust is a must.
Thinking of getting a solar battery? Well, guess what? They're not getting any cheaper like we thought 10 years ago. But the ability to pay them off is incredibly easier now than it was back then. At NRG Solar, we can help you with 13.5 kilowatt hours of storage, a 10-year warranty, blackout protection, and a battery with an awesome consumption monitoring app. We'll help you enjoy the feeling and the benefits of owning a solar battery sooner. So don't put it off any longer. Visit nrgsolar.com.au today.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
FIVEAA Breakfast with Tom Rehn and Lucy Lokan.
The Cherry Motor 5. State-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
Monday morning, 8:20. We are definitely doing the movie bowl today. And I'm excited. I'm just trying to pad here while I find my own intro. Here we go. Movies are better on the big screen at Wallace Cinemas, Mitcham, Mount Barker, Noarlunga and the Piccadilly. Wallace.com.au. Now, Tommy, I've given you the power today. There's no actual movie bowl, but I've said, Tom, you're a movie buff. You can pick 2 movies for me. What are our options? We want our listeners to vote this morning, 8223 0000.
Okay, well, here they are. Well, actually, before I get to it, Lucy, I was at Wallace last night at Mitcham with the boys, Harry and Charlie. We went and saw the new Transformers movie. Beautiful experience there. It's absolutely sensational, but I've gone a little bit further back in time for a choice for you for our movies. I was going to go down the sporting theme because I'm the sports guy, but I thought, no, I'll go with a couple of classics that I absolutely love. One I studied in Year 12. I read the book and then saw the movie, and it was the start, really, of his glorious career, which is still going. Jack Nicholson, he was a bit of a controversial choice or a different choice at the time, but he was the star of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is still a timeless movie.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Kesey wrote the book back in the day. Brilliant story. Very sad. I still bawl every time I watch that movie. And the other movie I'm going to go with, bit of a controversial figure. He's in the news at the moment, but he was breathtaking in this movie. And the movie is just sensational. The Usual Suspects, bit of a thriller, whodunit.
All right, 8223 0000. The Usual Suspects or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Both classics. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is just a magnificent story about a group of men in an institution under Nurse Ratched, who I think Pembo has referred to many times. It's a classic story. Outstanding book as well. And The Usual Suspects was made some 20 years later, 1994 I think that movie was. Kevin Spacey, Gabrielle Byrne, classic whodunit, brilliant movie. Every time you see it, you pick up something different, but it is an absolute beauty, a real mystery and a thriller, one that I still go back to many, many times.
Let's take your votes this morning, folks. 8223 0000. What am I watching tonight to review? Brad in Seacliff's called in. Morning, Brad.
It has to be The Usual Suspects for me, my favourite movie by far, Tom, so great choice.
I reckon it's in my top 3 too, Brad, of all time. It's just a brilliant movie, beautifully acted, and Kevin Spacey, he's just stunning.
He's great, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Brad. Well, we've got one for the usual suspects. Let's see who else we've got. Oh, we've got a few more coming in. We'll get to those shortly. I know last year we talked about Louise Fletcher. She played, of course, Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. She passed away in September.
Yeah, and gave a magnificent speech. I think she won the Oscar as well for her role in that too, and she gave a stunning speech as well. Spoke fluent French, I believe, Lucy, but very, very intelligent lady and a magnificent actress too.
Graham in Craigmore, what's your vote?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Excellent, Graham. Let's head over to Summertown. Mark, good morning. What's your vote?
Well, my son's actually studying One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for Year 12, and he needs all the help with reviews he can get. So that's yeah.
Cuckoo's Nest, excellent. Thank you, Mark. You know, I actually bought the book One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's been sitting on my bookshelf for 15 years.
No way.
I haven't read it yet.
Lucy, you're such an avid reader. That stuns me.
I know.
You know, you're a great reader, and I'm not a great reader, but it's one of the books that I have read. So that'd be one of the only books out there that I've read that you haven't.
I won't start reading it now, though. No fear of that. Paul in Evanston Park, good morning.
Good morning, team. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I'm with you, Tommy. I think it's one of the all-time classics.
Yeah, it's... And McMurphy, the character that Jack Nicholson plays... You know when you read a book, Lucy, and there's an idea of your head of the character, and then you see the movie and you go, you are nothing like what I imagined.
Mm.
Jack Nicholson fits it beautifully. He just plays the role as it should have been played from the book, and that's what makes it such a great movie as well, I think.
I reckon we do have a clear winner, but we'll take one more. Patrick in Felixstowe, good morning.
Usual Suspects, fantastic. It just keeps you enthralled, and like you said, you find something every time. Every time you watch it, and it is really a good movie.
Yeah, the line at the end as well, and some of the lines that are used throughout the movie, I still use them today, Patrick. It's just one of those movies you can come back to and gives you chills every single time. I don't want to give away the ending, but if you haven't seen it, make sure you do.
Thank you, Patrick, for that late surge for Usual Suspects, but we do have a clear winner. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, 3-2 in the end, so that is what I'll be watching tonight,
close.
Reviewing tomorrow. Coming up after the 8:30 news, we're chatting with astrophysicist Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Now, let's see what's in the swear jar at Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. Oh, wrong swear jar. This is it. From Martin the Tiler, affectionately known as Millimeter Martin. He swears you'll love his millimeter-perfect craftsmanship. And here's one from Rick the Plumber. Rick swears to always clean up after himself, guaranteed. For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
Over 60,000 Adelaide homes have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, Your Energy Saving Solutions. What's keeping you? Your Energy Saving Solutions can connect you with the SA government initiative called REPS. To save money on heating this winter, Yes is offering eligible households a 2.6 kilowatt Rinnai system for only $699. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's yes.net.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 15 with the 8:30 news. I'm Kendall Brett.
Complete windscreen supply and fit, front, rear and door glass. Proudly South Australian since 1976.
The Australian Test team's been abused in an ugly confrontation with members in the pavilion at Lords, marring their Ashes victory. Cricket Australia says players and staff were abused and some physically contacted as they made their way through the members' area following a controversial stumping by Alex Carey. The MCC's apologised to the Australian team for the behaviour of members. Australia now has a 2-0 lead in the series and will have more details on the win in sport. The Premier maintains a merger between Adelaide Uni and the Uni of SA will be good for our state. It'll cost taxpayers almost $500 million, and there are calls for a parliamentary inquiry into the deal. Peter Malinauskas has told 5AA Breakfast he's not opposed to an inquiry to allay their fears.
I'm happy to work with the opposition and others who want to scrutinise this. They're entitled to do that. It's a big decision. We've got to get it right. Just as long as it doesn't end up being a parliamentary committee that's only about the politics and only about delay. because if it goes on excessively, then delay becomes denial. So if we're going to have a parliamentary inquiry, that's fine, let's get on with it, but let's make sure that doesn't stop legislation passing.
While the state opposition slammed the Malinowskis government for the amount of media advisors on the Premier's team. There are now 17 on the books, costing $2.3 million a year, compared to 13 under the former Liberal government. Opposition Government Accountability spokeswoman Michelle Lensink says Labor has its priorities wrong.
He's actually got so many spin doctors that it exceeds the number of ministers in government, which is quite extraordinary. What the Liberal opposition thinks is that this has demonstrated that he knows that he's not going to be able to fulfil his election commitments, so he's going to try and spin his way out of the bad news.
But the government says there are 116 staff employed in the ministerial offices, similar to the 111 in the former Liberal government. Hundreds of people have been evacuated from the Q1 building on the Gold Coast after a fire broke out. Michael Augustus from the Queensland Ambulance Service says it's believed to have started in a rubbish compactor in the basement.
The fire is believed to have gone up the rubbish chute, filling some of the floors with smoke. Now, from that, the whole building has actually been evacuated, so there is several hundred people out on the street currently. The Queensland Ambulance Service is currently treating 5 patients, predominantly just with minor smoke inhalation.
A drink driver has run off the road and crashed into trees at Edinburgh. It happened on Purling Avenue. The 65-year-old man wasn't injured. He blew .128 and has been charged with drink driving and aggravated driving without due care. An Australian woman's died after a skydiving incident in the US. Here's Jonathan Kersley.
Deputies at the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office in Texas said the Australian was an instructor. Investigators say the woman was attempting a new skydiving method at the Spaceland facility in Houston on June 24. Witnesses told them the experienced young Australian woman had a hard landing. Local media says she was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. The cause of death is yet to be determined. Friends are planning a tribute skydive in the coming days.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Jono Edwards.
Thank you, Kendall. Nick Kyrgios has made a shock announcement on the eve of Wimbledon. The runner-up at last year's tournament has withdrawn, citing a wrist injury. It comes just hours after claiming he was extremely confident of his chances. To cricket, Australia has taken a 2-0 lead in the men's Ashes series with a controversial win in the second test at Lords. The tourists beat England by 43 runs despite an impressive knock of 155 by its skipper Ben Stokes and 83 from Ben Duckett. England fans were left fuming over a controversial stumping by wicketkeeper Alex Carey when the match was evenly poised. Carey reacted quickly, throwing the ball at the stumps when Johnny Bairstow walked out of his crease after the final ball of the over.
Oh, now this is going to be interesting. Johnny Bairstow's walked out of his crease here. This could well be out. I don't think there was a call of over. Johnny Bairstow's ducked and then walked out of his crease. Alex Carey's just thrown the ball at the stumps and hit them.
Let's head to some cycling, and Frenchman Victor Lafay has won Stage 2 of the Tour de France. Adam Yates retained the yellow jersey. In some racing, Max Verstappen has taken out the Formula One's Austrian Grand Prix. It was a full sweep for the Dutchman, who also took out the sprint and was fastest in practice and qualifying. And finally in golf overnight, Ricky Fowler's 4-year victory drought is over after a thrilling win Sunday at the Rocket Mortgage Classic over in the US. Aussie Cam Davis finished at 17 under. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Planning a function? Speak to the Adelaide Convention Centre team to elevate your vision for your next event.
At Seafood, reports of a smash on Commercial Road at Seafood Road. A break burst Watermain, Glen Osmond Road at the bottom of the freeway. Busy South Road at Edwardstown, also Fullerton Road at Freeville. Look out for works this morning at Eastwood at Glen Osmond Road near Fullerton Road, speeds in out of 40. Cameras, Lions Road, Dernan Courts and Lefevre Terrace at North Adelaide. 5 sleeps to go before Tom Cruise returns in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Grab your popcorn, grab your mates. It's going to be a wild ride in cinemas this weekend. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When you've earned your dream bathroom, speak to Bathrooms by Design, Clovelly Park and Lonsdale.
Cloudy and 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, also 15. A late shower or two on Wednesday, 17, and showers on Thursday, 15. At the moment, 8. More news as it happens on 5AA.
FIVEAA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to FIVEAA on Facebook or YouTube.
We're going to come back there. That was my little stuff up on the panel.
Difficult job, that panelling. It's something that I'm glad you're doing this week, Lucy, and you do it magnificently, and that's all well and good. We're still going along beautifully. Just quickly as well, Luce, on those movies we were talking about before 8:30, you're going to be watching One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and that is going to be tonight for your movie review. It was either that or The Usual Suspects. On the Empire all-time list, The Usual Suspects was actually number 24. Can't find where One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was, so I don't think it made the top 100, say, but very, very good movie nonetheless. So I think you're in for a treat tonight.
I'm very excited. We are chatting with Neil deGrasse Tyson shortly about astrophysics, and that's what I was just reading about when I got so caught up and the panel jumped out at me there, so that's my fault there. But many people will have heard of Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's an American astrophysicist, been around for a long time and has really popularised space science. He's been across many media and been to Australia a lot of times. He's actually coming to Adelaide tomorrow. He will be here for his national tour. He's currently been in New Zealand, and Adelaide is his first stop of the Australia tour, I guess you could say. He's done Auckland, he's done Wellington over the weekend. He's flying into Adelaide tomorrow to appear at the convention centre. So if you're interested in hearing an incredible astrophysicist who's been at Harvard University, he's been to, got his postdoctoral research associate from Princeton University in the 90s. He's written monthly essays for the Natural History magazine. He's right across astrophysicists and anything to do with space, especially now with our space industry here in Adelaide. I think that will be one to watch. We will chat with him shortly. We've got a couple of texts there, Tommy, about the cricket. Everyone's been...
Yep.
3 hours worth of cricket thoughts.
Well, this is it, Lucy, because there was a lot of controversy. Now, Australia won the test match by 43 runs, but in highly controversial circumstances because on the final ball of a Cameron Green over, he bowled a bouncer, Johnny Bairstow ducked, and then was just sort of wandering outside of his crease. So Alex Carey instantaneously took the ball, threw down the stumps immediately, out of his crease, hit the stumps, bang, out. Now, people are saying it's not in the spirit of the game. At least that's what English fans are arguing. This text has just come through, 0448 08 1395 on the Duttons text line. Tom, the England people and media are describing the Aussies as cheats after the Bairstow run out. I've never heard such anger. I've just found an image, Lucy, which I think is pertinent. And for all of those English complainers this morning, Bairstow in the previous innings did try exactly the same thing on the Australian batsman. So if they want to complain, then have a crack at Johnny Bairstow, who tried to do exactly the same thing when Marnus Labuschagne was on 7. The score was 1 for 79. So I think it's absolutely hypocritical and outrageous for those English fans to then be saying the Australians are cheats. Get over it. Sore losers, 2-0. Bring on Leeds. Shut up and move on.
I love a passionate Tom Rehn about cricket. I love it. Let's turn to someone who's extremely passionate about the big world of science, more specifically educating in science and the entire industry and, of course, space. We welcome to 5AA Breakfast Neil deGrasse Tyson. Good morning to you, Neil.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're very excited to hear you're coming to Adelaide tomorrow. It kickstarts your Australian leg of the Oz-New Zealand tour. How's the weekend been in New Zealand?
It's been great. It's great. Looking forward to... I'm driving to the airport right now to hop over to Australia just for that purpose.
How many times have you been to Australia before? We've got a proud science and space industry here, but how many times have you been?
Indeed, maybe 3 or 4 times. One of those times was just an in and out, and the other times I was much more luxurious and I could take a vacation and go to the wine country. And so, but this trip won't have that much vacation luxury built into it. So it's a 5-city tour, starting off at Adelaide. That's right.
Now, the main theme of your tour this time round is your journey into the depths of astrophysics and its profound impact on our understanding of civilization. Wow. Where do you start with that?
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. And it's just, there's so much that we think of as life in this world. So there's society, civilization, and often people think of science as something separate to do. Science has this other role in our lives. But in fact, if you look at what you do through a scientific lens, especially if you add a dose of cosmic perspective, it can be transformative, not only to your life, but to your loved ones and even to civilization itself. So this presentation will explore all the ways that being scientifically literate can deeply inform decisions you make about your life and about the future of civilization itself.
Sounds fascinating. Neil, for those wondering, should I or shouldn't I go, what kind of is the age-appropriate age of people that are perhaps thinking of going? Can younger people head there as well as adults?
Okay, so if you're wondering, should you go or not go, the answer is go.
We'll sell it for
That's
you.
an overwhelming yes.
I would say the youngest I've seen in the audience was 8, and the oldest was very gray and slow-moving. But yes, everyone who cares about life and civilization, I have anecdotes that are fully embraceable by kids. But I would say the show is not for kids, but kids, we all know kids who are like a little better at school than others and who do science projects. It's good for those kind of kids. I had a kid who was 10 who asked me about like colliding black holes, right? And what is the future? How might that affect the future of our world? So these are like precocious kids. They totally take in what I'm doing.
Neil, your latest book is called Starry Messenger, Cosmic Perspectives on Civilization. You'll be discussing similar themes, no doubt, but how do you get everything that you've put in a book, how do you create that into an interactive, educative talk to the masses?
Yeah, that's great. So, the book, the presentation is about an hour and a half, but I cherry-picked the book. That's that's what I do. I get the best stuff,
Perfect.
And I put it in the talk, and add some current events. What's the latest on the James Webb Space Telescope? Everyone is thinking about AI these days. I have some thoughts on that. It's embedded in a real world of people's thoughts.
What are your thoughts on AI? I did see an article that has come out timely this morning that you did a Q&A session with an AI bot. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
it was fun. Yeah, so I was on a podcast where the host of the podcast was a chat bot, right? And they were asking the chat AI was asking me questions. Then I said, I'll agree to this, provided I can ask questions back to the chat bot. And they said they agreed to that. And so I found some questions that I didn't quite see smoke coming out of its ears, but it had some issues with one of my questions. One of them was, I asked it, if Pinocchio declared, my nose is about to grow, then what would happen? I asked this of the chatbot. And
what was the response?
Well, it said, it's a paradox. It went on and on and on, and it was took way too long to give me the answer. And I said, dude, that question is simply not allowed in Pinocchio's universe. You can say that, all right? That question doesn't exist in his world. No one would ask it in the first place. So it's not something to actually be solved, right? If he says his nose is about to grow and it grows, that meant he told the truth about his nose, but his nose only grows when he's lying, right?
Yeah.
If you think that through, it's like a really weird thing to step into. And so the chatbot was not elegant. It didn't really embrace the depths of it. And it said, and when I explained it back to him, it said, thank you for clarifying that.
Well, I mean,
so I said, okay, score 1 for humans in this one. Yeah.
The amount of tech you will have seen over your career, what do you think of AI? Is it putting people's careers at risk, or will it become, what's the word, scarily a part of our everyday lives? How do you see AI in the future?
We're all going to die. No, sorry, I don't mean to make little of that. But I think almost every technological advance since the dawn of the Industrial Revolution has resulted in the loss of jobs, period. All right? Well, in 1913, when automobiles fully replaced horses, we built civilization literally and figuratively and literally on the backs of horses for thousands of years. And within a 10-year span, between 1905 and 1915, you couldn't give away a horse. Was anyone there saying, well, what about the jobs of the people who make buggy whips and horse-drawn? Are you really do you think that was going to stop this from happening? No, it wasn't. And meanwhile, we need car repair people, okay? And the person whose job it was to clean up the horse manure, no, we're glad that job doesn't exist anymore. Have them do something else. So yes, it will cost people jobs. Yes, as it has been, and as technology has been doing for the last several centuries. So we should expect that. I think the difference is the jobs it's going to take are people who never thought computers would take their jobs, because these chat AIs, they can write your term paper for you. Okay, they might be able to write your journal article, or if you're a journalist, they might be able to write that you thought you were safe. Maybe you're not. Okay, so rethink your industry. Let the computer do the easy things, right? Like, for example, let the computer write the travel guide, okay? Has anyone ever signed a travel guide or instruction manual? Let chat do that. And why don't you compose poetry ahead of anything the AI can do? Do something creative beyond currently what the AI can do. And the day that AI does everything and nobody has a job, guess what? Then nobody has money to buy goods and services. Okay,
that's right. It'll come round.
Right, exactly. If I'm making products and then I fire everybody because my AI does it, everybody I fired doesn't have money to buy my products. So this will be a showdown at some point going forward.
Neil, we'll let you head off to the airport, leaving New Zealand to come here to Adelaide. Your show is on tomorrow night at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Good luck for your Australian tour.
Thank you. Thanks for your interest, and I look forward to this.
Neil deGrasse Tyson there, famous astrophysicist all the way from America, coming tomorrow for his impact on understanding our impacts on civilization tour here in Australia. How exciting. If you need something to do tomorrow night, duck down to the convention centre where you can hear from Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson live on stage and hear his thoughts on AI. That was quite a wake-up call, wasn't it? Nice to hear an impassioned person, though, saying, yeah, our jobs might go, but at least if they do go, it could be for XYZ reasons.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want more, as you say, Lucy, to hear more on his thoughts, clearly someone who's an intelligent person and has some fairly strong views on where the world is heading and the direction that we might be going with regards to science and technology, then head along tomorrow night, Adelaide Convention Centre.
Let's check traffic for your run-in this morning.
Thanks, Lucy. At Manningham, breakdown on Hampstead Road near Taunton Road. Seaford reports of a smash on Commercial Road at Seaford Road, while at Urbray burst water main, Glen Osmond Road at the bottom of the freeway. Busy South Road at Edwardstown, also Fullerton Road at Frueville, with cameras Lyons Road, Durnan Court and Tennyson Streets at Karata Park. Booking a group holiday is no joke, but a Flight Centre's group travel experts will turn it into a breeze. Call a Flight Centre group travel expert on 1300 927 587. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Budget car and truck rental make life easy. Whether you need to move equipment, furniture, fresh produce or people, you'll find the widest variety of vehicles at competitive prices at Budget Car and Truck Rental. With 7 convenient locations across the metro area, plus regional locations, you'll find a budget near you. So if you're moving out or in, taking a load to the tip or going on a big trip, do it with Budget Car and Truck Rental. Call 13 27 27. That's 13 27 27.
G'day, it's Baz from FIVEAA Milk Company. Just wanted to let you know that we're doing all we can to get behind our local dairy farmers. They've been doing it tough for a long time. Remember, when you buy FIVEAA Milk Company products, you're making a difference. So keep up the good work, SA. Look for FIVEAA Milk Company products in your supermarket. 3 words make all the difference. FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian first and proud of it.
If you're in the market for a new car, you've got to put the new Cherry Emotive 5 from Cherry Glen Osmond on your list. It's ready for immediate delivery. They also have low mileage demo models ready for immediate delivery too. From just 33,000 drive away, even less for a demo, the Cherry Emotive 5 has the sort of features you'd expect to find in a car 3 times its price. Heated seats, remote engine start, 360-degree camera, parking sensors, the list goes on. Visit gocherry.com.au or call into Cherry Glen Osmond next to Formula Honda.
There's nothing worse than being in a home where it feels colder inside than out. Don't wait until cooler months arrive to get a new heating system installed. Get it done now with an automated system from Cosco Energy Group. It could save you some serious dollars and you'll never have to layer up to beat the cold chill again. Experience the automated heating solutions at the Cosco Energy Group's interactive showroom, 336 South Road, Croydon Park. KOZCO. Cosco Energy Group.
Now, some people might think the best thing about winter is a hot chocolate or an open fire, but the best thing about this coming winter is Bob Burns Blinds Winter Warmer, where you'll get up to 40% off.
That is up to 40% off their entire range of curtains and blinds, including energy-efficient window coverings. And remember, with Bob Burns Blinds, you'll get that quality show home look, plus you'll save on energy bills by trapping the heat in your home.
And what I love as well, Lucy, is Bob Burns Blinds are South Australian as well, so they're local with nearly everything manufactured right here in Adelaide from quality materials.
Get set for winter now with the Bob Burns Blinds Winter Warmer. Get up to 40% off their entire range of curtains and blinds, including energy-efficient window coverings. So book your free measure and quote at bobburnsblinds.com.au.
How easily could you save hundreds off your energy bills? That easy. Switch out your gas or electric hot water system for an energy-efficient heat pump with EcoVantage. Then sit back and save up to 70% on your water heating costs. And get it supplied and installed for as little as $0, thanks to government-facilitated subsidies. Yep, new hot water system from $0 that saves you hundreds. Pump your energy bills down with ecovantage.com.au.
5AA Breakfast with Tom Rehn and Lucy Lokan.
The Cherry Motor 5. State-of-the-art driving from 33k drive away with immediate delivery. Visit Cherry Glen Osmond.
We'll get to best of behind closed doors shortly. John Blake is off this week on another week of holidays. But in good news, do you know someone who would benefit from a brand new computer? Just simply head to 5AA.com.au. All thanks to Leader Computers, the largest 100% Australian-owned computer brand based right here in Adelaide. Now, best of behind closed doors, Tommy. Don't worry, I didn't throw us under the bus.
Good.
It is, of course.
Someone else.
Someone else indeed. Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64. It is the best of Behind Closed Doors with Andrew Reimer.
And when we get behind closed
1395, Adelaide's 5AA. This is Andrew Reimer.
Yes, welcome back to the program. Andrew Reimer with you on Interactive Radio 30.5, Adelaide's 5AA as well. Keep those SMSs coming in, won't you? It's good to be interactive because we're all one big happy 5AA family, and like any family, there are members we don't talk about, some we don't like, some that used to be in the family but got chucked out, others that used to be family members but chose to live with another family, and we're trying our best to get those family members back because we miss them, or at least we pretend to. You can call me on 8223 or SMS me on the SMS line 0448883095. A text here from Jeff, who says, "Hi Andrew, great to have you back on the radio." Here's another one from Sally, who says, "Hi Andrew, great show as usual." Let's talk to Ron. Hi Ron.
G'day Andrew.
How are you tonight, Ron?
I'm really good, Andrew.
And what's been going on, Ron?
Andrew, you know how some office supply shops say they'll match any price? You know, they'll match the price of their competitor?
Yep, they do, yeah. They'll match the price, that's right, yep.
Well, I wanted to buy a memory stick online, you know, a memory stick?
Yeah, a memory stick, yep, right.
And I went to another office supply place and they wouldn't match the price.
Oh, right, they wouldn't match the price.
No, can I say which place it was?
No, don't say it. Don't say which one it was because we don't know the details, so don't say the name of the place.
Okay, but I got a price for this memory stick online and then I went into Officeworks and they wouldn't match the price.
Oh, they wouldn't match it?
No, they said that wasn't the same product, it was a different brand and blah, 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 blah.
Yep, right.
But I thought Officeworks would match the price.
You thought they would, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right, but they said they wouldn't.
Well, they've got a lot of overheads, you know, that the online store doesn't have.
Oh, right, yeah. The other thing is, I've got this neighbour too, I'm having real problems with it. She's a real cow.
Oh, really? What's the problem?
Well, she lives next door. Can I say her name?
No, don't say her name. No, don't say that because we don't know the details and we don't want to say anything that we shouldn't.
Okay, but she's giving me nothing but trouble every day, Andrew. I say to her, Ethel, leave me alone or I'll ring the police.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ethel Graveness, her name. She lives next door.
Right.
At 23 Abgral Way, Felixstowe.
Yeah, right.
The number is 0426 389.
Tommy, we will be back tomorrow, but before we
Can't
go,
wait.
I've got tickets. We've got tickets here for a listener and a friend to get along to the Glenelg Winter Arts Festival presented by Gluttony. Have fun at the Bay, July 6th to 23rd in Collie Reserve, glenelgwinterfestival.com. Give the ring 8223 0000 your chance to get along and see Rove McManus at the Glenelg Winter Arts Festival all this July. Give us a ring now and those tickets will be yours. Tommy, we'll be back tomorrow morning.
Looking forward to it, and I'll be at the Winter Festival this weekend, so they're great tickets, a fantastic price.
We'll be back tomorrow with more of your comments on the Foodland live stream about Tom's attire and what he comes dressed as tomorrow. But Matthew Pantelis is up after the 9 o'clock news. We'll see you tomorrow.
For nearly 40 years, no one has done certified used cars quite like Steinborner Automotive. With